All right, welcome in. Hey, everybody, welcome. Pugs Moran here. This is the Rant live from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios North on the Radio Misfits Podcast and Fun Network. That's right, it's not just for podcasts, it's for fun. Let's get the chat room going. Who was first in the chat room? I'll tell you who was first in the chat room because I said hi to him, but I don't know that I can. I don't know if before I hit live on the stream, I don't know if I can be seen or heard in the chat room because nobody ever responds to me. When I talk to them like early before we hit the show, when the chat room is first starting to fill up, I always say, hi, and nobody responds. So I guess I can't chat with y'all before I go live. Taronda is our winner today, as she is most days. First person in the chat room. Appreciate that. Today's show, however, we like to honor those who take care of this show in any way, shape, or form in the form of a tip. You can tip this show in any manner of ways. You can drop a little something in the Cash App. You can drop a little something in the Venmo. The show needs your support this time more than ever. It ain't just because it's Christmas time. It's because we just made a move and we're off the air for 6 weeks. And so the show needs all the tips that we can muster. And if you are so inclined as to support this kind of talk radio, I like to say it's non-political, but we live in times and we talk current events. So it's kind of unavoidable. If you support non-radicalized talk radio, how's that? Because none of us here are radical. Well, the chat room's got some radicals in it, but you support non-radicalized talk radio. Talk radio for normal people, man. I'm the dude that can live in a neighborhood and not give a shit if my neighbor has a Trump sign and the other neighbor has a Biden sign. I don't fucking care. All right, cool. That's who you like. Good job. You going to the block party this summer? We have gotten radicalized into just fucking hating the other person. And talk radio used to exist in this country as a sort of community gathering for everybody. And that's not the thing anymore. Now talk radio, look, we're being honest. It's not an equal balance. Talk radio in America, public discourse, daily public discourse is right-wing MAGA. It is. It is 100%. It's the reason why me, after having top 5 numbers in 2 major markets over the course of 20 years, hasn't really gone back into radio because there's no jobs. They're like, I had a guy, I've told you about this. I had a guy down in New Orleans once. They were going to hire me in New Orleans. It's going back like 10, 15 years. Hey, man, we'd love to get you on the air. And I said, yeah, but you're a Rush Limbaugh station, and I don't do that, man. I'm not going to play that game. I'm just going to be myself. And you know what the program director said to me? We're at a bar. He looks me dead in the eye, and he goes, yeah, but you're good enough to fake it. And I'm like, holy fuck. Holy fuck. I can't do that. I can't do that because I can't do anything else because I'm a very special brand of individual. I can only do one thing, and it's this. And I can only do this authentically. I can only be the person that I am. Case in point, we're going to listen to a case in point of this later. Later, we're going to hear a sports talk guy. We're going to hear a sports talk guy in Milwaukee on the flagship station for the Green Bay Packers. We're gonna listen to this guy only because, guys, I try to look, I'm a loser, right? I've been doing this for 4.5 years. I refuse to give. I got no secrets. You can't hurt me. I'm perfectly comfortable with who I am because I feel like I'm authentic. Many of you have known me for 25 years, not just as a guy you listen to on the radio. Some of you have known me longer than that. But Adam Reyna, Frank Smith, Barney. All these people over the years we have, hung out with. We have been together in social situations. I'm not different. I don't put on an act. It's not like Alex Jones when people say, you know how many people I've had come up to me over the years and go, I had dinner with Alex Jones. He's fucking normal. I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, he's performative and he's made a lot of money, but yeah, I imagine he could probably be normal. That's not me. I'm the same person either way. And that's the kind of talk that we do. I fucking hate Donald Trump, okay? But I'm not a libtard. I don't particularly love what the other side is offering either. And I know that often sounds like you're just trying to play both sides of the fence, but I think most of us find ourselves there. So that's what this is. So if you want to help the show out in any way you can, drop a little something in the Cash App or the Venmo. That is appreciated. And that is what I'd like you to do first. But short of that, as I always tell you, like the show, please. Forward this show, please. Subscribe to this show, please. Help us out in any way you can. Forward, if you follow me on any of my socials, Facebook or Twitter, forward the shit. Like, as long as it's not something you don't want to be associated with, because I got to be honest with you. As an authentic person, I don't really have a filter, and sometimes I will say things, and maybe you don't want that on your timeline, and I get it. But you can at least like it. Unless you're liking something that, will blow back on you and you'll lose your job because social media is incredibly complicated. And, she liked something from that shit-talking streamer. You don't want that. But I'm just saying, there are ways that you can help. There are ways that you can participate. We're not doing live shows anymore because it's kind of hard for me to do a trivia contest when I live 1,000 miles away currently. But, so in lieu of coming out and supporting the show in that way, in lieu of being able to drop something into the coffers, whether it's Venmo or Cash App, I mean, I know, man, it's a real shit situation for me, because as somebody who relies on you guys to get through, it's Christmas and the economy sucks. And I know, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I know that I am last on a lot of your priorities, and that is completely understandable. So if you can't help out that way, please forward. Now let's check in on Twitter. Let's check in on the people I follow or follow me on Twitter, because I posted something on this show. Let's see. Has anybody forwarded the show? Oh, there's Sam. Sam the mailman can't help me. He just talks shit. I love Sam. But all he does on Twitter is whatever I say, Sam will take the opposite opinion. And I love Sam. But forward and like the show, Sam, please. April does it right. April's a badass. Barney, thank you. Adam, I think Adam did it. Let's see. Anybody? No. No, that's it. And I don't even want to go over to Facebook. Facebook never gets forwarded or liked. But you know what? It may be the Festivus season, but I am not going to be just ranting about grievances. That is not what we're doing here. To that end, the person who tips the best on the previous day's show gets to be the next day's, what do we call it? We used to call it executive producer. Today, we just say the show is sponsored by. Today, thank you to Maddie. Maddie, getting real involved early on. Thank you, Maddie. Merry Christmas. That was very generous of you. Maddie is responsible for today's show. Ugh. We got a lot to talk about today. I'm not going to promise you a 4 or 5 hour, 2 potty break rants, but we got at least 2 hours in us today. There's at least a good 2 hours in the tank. So let me tell you what we're going to be getting into today. We'll talk about the president's speech last night, but not too much, because honestly, I didn't watch very much of it. I watched for like 5 minutes and went, yeah. And then I tuned back in 10 minutes later. He was wrapping it up. He wasn't too long, which was good. But, and then I read all the recaps, and there was nothing. All right, but we're going to talk about that. There you go. President of the United States got up and celebrated Festivus by just listing grievances for 20 minutes. I like to imagine that when it was over, he went behind the curtain and wrestled Dan Bongino for the feats of strength portion of the Festivus celebration. Let's see here. What else do we? Oh, that's not good. I just went back like 6 months because I hit the wrong button on my Google Drive. What else are we going to talk about today? Notes. Speaking of Dan Bongino, he's out. We'll go into that. That son of a bitch is just going to walk right back in. First person in history to be able to walk out of a radio contract. Hi, I walked out of a radio contract, so I know this is true. First person in history to walk out of a radio contract and then be absolutely welcomed back with 120 channels, 120 stations, Dan. We can give those to you coast to coast so you can now just fucking make excuses for why everything you said before you became the assistant director of the FBI was bullshit. Yeah, he's going to walk right back into it. Why? Not because he's good. It's because he's that guy. That's all talk radio in America. So he's fine. Say nothing of the dudes. There's probably... when Dan Bongino left his talk radio empire, his midday empire, when Dan Bongino left that, I don't know how there may have been a couple of networks involved. Some of the networks may have just filled his spot with one guy. Like one guy maybe got like 60 of his stations. But there are a bunch of markets out there that when Dan Bongino 9 months ago walked away, they gave a shot to a young person. And that young person walked into that job and got the break of their lives. And guess what? They're probably going to be fired now because Dan Bongino is a fuck up who couldn't handle an important job. But we'll get into that. Also, we're going to talk about this one. This is funny because we touched on it yesterday. It's the only reason we're going into this. We touched on it yesterday. That Kimberly Guilfoyle, former wife of Gavin Newsom, who suddenly went completely 180 degrees and started a relationship with Don Jr. Like two completely different people, or are they? Or is it all just a fucking game that we're all getting sucked into playing? Anyway, she's back in the news today. We'll talk about why her former fiance, Don Jr., is getting engaged to he got younger at the position. That's for damn sure. And she's not happy, but what she's going to do, she's over there in Greece. They moved her 50,000 miles away. Anyway, we'll talk about that. We won't talk about the specifics of who they are, but we'll talk about how that feels, right? We've all watched somebody move on quicker, right? Like we've all watched somebody. Maybe we haven't. Maybe you've been lucky. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about what poor Kimberly Guilfoyle is going through on quite the public stage. Also, this is a statement I'm going to make. I'm a middle-aged white man who enjoys classic rock and punk from the 1980s, so you wouldn't describe me as a Taylor Swift fan. Taylor Swift, I can name one Taylor Swift song. That's who I am. I'm a modern American white guy who's in his middle ages and can name one Taylor Swift song. It's fucking great. It's that one. That's a great beat. I don't even know. What is that? Shake it off. That's it. I got it. That's it. Woo! Drop that one at a wedding and I am. But that's it. I don't know anything else she does. She's a chick who sings about getting broken up with while still being a 10, which makes me wonder, who's breaking up with you? I think you're forcing the issue for album sales. Anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about Taylor Swift because I'm going to make this statement. I just established I'm no fan of her discography. I don't like, well, maybe I am. Maybe I'm being closed-minded. I'm just not that familiar with it. You know what I mean? Seriously, I've been trying now for about 90 seconds to think of another Taylor Swift song, and I can't. All right, having established my non-bona fides when it comes to the Taylor Swift universe, I do want to make this declarative statement. If you hate Taylor Swift, I think you're an asshole. I really do, and I will show you why. Because Taylor Swift did something that nobody does. Nobody does. It's not done. Why? Because people are afraid to set a precedent. Because then others have to do it. Well, she just said, you know what? Fuck that. I'm going to give you an example on why. If you hate Taylor Swift, you're an asshole. You're an asshole. All right. So we'll talk about that. Excuse me. Oh, and then we're going to go through some videos and stuff. A few people, I like to think that this is just radio. I want people to listen. But, then I find myself doing a whole bunch of video breakdowns. So we're going to do a bunch of that as well, okay? We don't have anything really updated on the Nick Reiner thing. I think he said 3 words in court yesterday, right? Wasn't that the deal? All right, so we'll get into that. Also, we're going to go back for my Gen X friends. We're going to go back and we're going to talk about the phenomena. Only lasted about two years, maybe. We'll talk about the Gen X phenomena of the Valley Girl. Okay, fine, for sure. Remember that? Remember when everybody talked like that? Like, why are you talking like that? And, I'll draw a direct correlation, a common thread between the very ever so common, and it's coast to coast, vocal fry that we hear now in all women. And we'll connect it to its origins. The Valley Girl. Not why. What else we're going to do here? Yeah. Okay, we'll watch something, and then I'll go into my whole spiel about why alcohol is a much bigger problem in this country than opioids. Yeah. And I got some video examples of it, right? Alcohol is the biggest problem in this country. But it's always been around. So whatever. Can't do anything about it. It's like murder. Murder might be the biggest problem in humanity, but it's always been around. It's something we always do, so we accept it. I'm not anti-alcohol. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we ought to ban alcohol. I'm just simply saying the way we look at alcohol and the way we look at other things that are not as damaging to us as a people, as a nation, families. When we compare it, we always forget about it. We're always like, so we'll do that. We'll talk about why alcohol, in my opinion, is a much bigger problem in this country than heroin. But we're conditioned. We're conditioned to be okay with alcoholism. We're conditioned. All right, all that and a whole bunch more. Let me jump into the chat room to say hi to my friends who are here with me today, because that's very important. Here at Pugs and how do I do it? It's backwards. Pugs and Company. That is so hard to do, to like match it on the camera. Maddie's in the chat room. She is our executive producer of the day, so we will give her priority and we will talk to her first. Maddie is in the chat room and she says, let's see. They just asked for a continuance. Oh, who's she talking about? I got to go back. What you talking about, Maddie? Okay, hold on. I know where I'm going next. They just asked for a continuance on his acquittal. Nothing significant about that, except that it definitely indicates there's some sort of shakeup coming with how he pleads. You're talking about Nick Reiner. Yeah, I'm guessing Nick Reiner. Okay. Yeah, there's some really ugly fucking shit starting to percolate up in the Rob Reiner murder case as it pertains to his fucking shitbag son. It's percolating up. It's really ugly. And of course, it's coming from the right. And of course, it's ugly and not true and absolute fucking bullshit. And just another example of how the worst people are being amplified. For what reason? I don't know. Where's Adam? Adam talking about Sam. I love this. Yes, Sam is a hater. So annoying. I'm a contrarian. 2 completely different things. No, they're not. No, they're not, man. You justify it any way you want, Adam, but you and Sam are the same fucking person. Nah, that's not the same person, obviously. But you are very, very similar. You get an endorphin rush from irritating people. You and Sam. And that comes in the verbal and textual jousting that you endlessly and relentlessly engage in. It's a you thing. It's a you thing, and it's a part of what makes you, and it's why the people who love you. They wouldn't change a thing about you, but, I don't love you, so change! Change! I'm just kidding. Barney checking in with some Valley Girl verbiage. Yeah. Gag me with it. Yeah, like gag me with a spoon. Grody to the max. What are some other Valley Girl lingos? for sure. That's not really for sure. Yeah, really, I think that the lasting, and we'll talk about this more in detail, but the lasting contribution to the ongoing American culture that Valley Girl phenomena provided is the word like. The word like is the one that stuck, okay? Still to this day, you talk to a young person and everything is like, and it's like, and I think it's because that world or that word in conversation acts as a filler for inarticulation. You know, boy, if that makes sense. If you lack the ability to truly make a good comparison or metaphor or whatever, you will fill that with the word like. It's like, no, what is it like? It's not like anything because you're not finishing that sentence. You're just stopping at like. Anyway, like. Like is the one that I would say. Stuck through. We're still doing like. Barney also says, what are the odds on Kelsey that Corey Feldman testifies at trial? I have no idea what this is, but it's Barney, so it's coming from the right wing of Twitter or something. I don't know what is Kelsey. What is Kelsey? Barnes, you need to help me out here. What is Kelsey? And Corey Feldman testifies at trial. I'm guessing you're talking about Nick Reiner. Why would Corey Feldman be involved? Oh, Stand By Me? Why? Because he was a Stand By Me? Yeah, no. See, what you're doing is you're giving oxygen to something that is 100% not true, and you're now retroactively connecting other things from the past, and not you, Barney, but the right. Corey Feldman years ago said that he was molested in Hollywood. This is probably why Rob Reiner got killed, because he molested Corey Feldman and his kid. Like, you're nuts. You're nuts. Stop it. And then there's a really funny, it's really funny. There's a really funny piece from the roast of Rob Reiner. Rob Reiner got roasted in the year 2000. It's going around. Maybe I'll find it. Maybe we'll play it. But from the I don't even want to get into this. There are horrible, horrible people who are saying that Nick Reiner murdered his parents because Rob Reiner molested him all his life. And it just boiled over now after he made a movie for him and went on this huge publicity tour back in 2016 talking about how his son is his hero and he's working so hard and he's so proud of him and he's getting better, but it's a struggle. Yeah, now, after this little fucking entitled junkie slaughters his parents, now in order for him not to have to pay the price, we're going to now just from the grave completely destroy his mother and father. Are you fucking kidding me? Would you for a moment take a breath and just stop it? Why? Because Meathead was a fucking liberal. That's why. That's why you want, and I'm not talking about Barney directly. I'm talking about my reaction to what I'm starting to see from the worst people who luckily are starting to see a little bit of erosion in their influence. I mean, you knew that had to come, right? Maddie is helping me out here. Kalshi is a platform where people can bet on the outcome of real world events. Can you do that from Texas? Can you, cause Texas freedom and all that stuff like that? Cause I know what Kalshi is. I thought that was a person's name also, like somebody that I didn't know was involved in this. But yeah, I know about that. Everything where I live now in Illinois is betting. Everything, my phone, everything, bet our phone. You want to bet on how long this red light's going to be? Everything is betting because, some places have freedom where they allow grown individuals who were born in the United States to have these certain liberties to make their own bad choices. Texas ain't got that. So can you use Kalshi? Can you even use that in Texas? I don't get it. I don't understand it. Okay. But now I got to give Barney, because that's funny. Now that, I went off half cocked because that's what I do here, because it's a stream of consciousness. I got nothing to say. Barney was being funny. But I know that Barney has seen some of the things that I've seen. So forgive me for going off. All right. can that satisfy the Nick Reiner thing? And he's got Alan Jackson as an attorney. He said 3 words in court yesterday. I don't know what they were. Yeah, I did it. No, I did it. There you go. Those are the 3 words that we need from him. What else is there? Is there anything else about it? Yeah, just the real ugly shit. Oh, the Rob Reiner roast. I'm sorry. The very funny Rob Reiner roast from 2000. This is being used as fuel. Al Franken, before he was Senator Al Franken, and when he was still a respected comedy writer, Al Franken got up to roast his friend Rob Reiner, and Al Franken got up and he told this long, rambling story in the form of the Aristocrats. If you're in comedy, you know what the Aristocrats is. The Aristocrats is essentially a comedy writing exercise. It's a joke that has been told throughout the ages, almost exclusively among comedians. It's not a joke that you tell on stage. It's not a joke because it's really a demonstration of one's verbal ability to describe. That's what the Aristocrats joke is. You can just Google the Aristocrats and you can hear a million different versions of it. It's vulgar. I mean, it is the most vulgar. That's the whole point of it. Each retelling of the Aristocrats by a different person tries to make it even more vulgar, disgusting, and illegal than anything the person before them told. That's the point. It's an exercise in how profane, how vulgar are you willing to go? And comedians do it. It's a writing exercise. It's a way to, like, you write the most horrible stuff and then you go back and you edit down. You get to the funny and you remove the vulgar. Anyway, the Aristocrats. So Al Franken is essentially doing a version of the Aristocrats story about Rob Reiner and his father, Carl Reiner. Remember, this is a roast. Shit. All right. You know what? I'll just show it to you. You know, why not? We're talking about it. I'll show it to you. Let's see if I can find it. Because I didn't forward it or anything. Because I was like, oh man, this is being used for. All right, here you go. All right, so here we go. We'll do this. This is it. These are people retroactively taking something that was funny and is a traditional comedy format. Certainly, I mean, not public. The Aristocrats is not always a public joke, but this is in the roast format where you're allowed to be a little bit edgier. So that's what this is. And dummies who don't know about the culture of American comedy are saying, see, they got on stage and talk about how Carl Reiner molested Rob Reiner. Anyway, here's the joke. It's just, don't be stupid. This is comedy and it's funny.
More substantive. But I have to tell you that Rob has devoted himself to seeing the kids from birth to age 3 get the kind of nurturing, intellectual stimulation, love, really, that will make them grow up to be a fully functional, happy person, unlike, say, Brett. And it's a great thing. Most people don't know where this comes from. And Rob doesn't like to talk about it because he's kind of a modest guy. But it comes out of his own personal experience. See, as a baby, Rob was routinely beaten by his father, Carl. Rob believes that this early physical abuse had a profound effect on him as an adult and led to the horrible failure of Ghosts of Mississippi.
I'm going to go for North on that one. I'm just curious.
Exactly. What possibly could explain North?
I helped them out.
On a typical night, Carl would slip into Rob's bed, roll him over, swab him down, and say something like, I'm thinking about hiring Maury Amsterdam to play Buddy Sorrell. What do you think?
Carl Reiner, his father, created the Dick Van Dyke Show. So that's what that joke is.
Well, the success of the Dick Van Dyke Show changed things dramatically. Carl started inviting many of his famous friends to son.
See, now we're getting into the aristocrats territory.
And that list includes some of the greats in comedy. Paul.
All right, see, I hate to ruin the joke, but the joke that people aren't getting is he is now, Al Franken, going to out everyone in the history of comedy of the last 25 years or so that everyone knew was gay, but they couldn't be called out. So now he's going to just list a bunch of names of people who we know are gay.
In comedy.
Is this shocking comedy for 2025? Yes. We were a little bit edgier then. Remember, Howard Stern was popular. We still had shock radio all over the place. We didn't clutch our pearls as much as we do now because we're not pussies back in the year 2000. Humor was categorized as humor. Someone doing a joke wasn't then put out into the zeitgeist as some sort of declaration of cultural upheaval. It was a joke. It was given no more importance than that. We used to be able to do that. We used to be able to go to comedy clubs and see someone get up there and just do the darkest stuff, hit that place that we all have, that we keep stifled down because we are civilized human beings, but we all have this place. And he used to get tickled. And it was fine. We'd be like, God, that's horrible. And we drive home and be like, oh man, that's so bad. Why was I laughing about that? And that's fine. That's a human experience as long as we have that moment in the ride home where we're like, oh man, that is bad. I shouldn't. We don't then go out in the world and manifest the comedy that people said. Well, it's okay to do this because I heard a comment make a joke about it. We used to be able to make that distinction. But now, because of the amplification of the stupidest fucking voices among us, social media has now turned us all into a bunch of pearl-clutching ninny bitches. And let me tell you right now, the people pushing this, MAGA, there are no bigger pearl-clutching ninny bitches in America than rank-and-file MAGA red hats. You got to be fucking kidding me. This man was slaughtered by his junkie son, and you're going to now go back 25 years to find comedy that somehow plays into a conspiracy theory that you want to manifest into reality. Fuck you.
Includes some of the greats in comedy. Paul Lynde.
Gay.
Dom DeLuise.
Gay.
Rip Taylor.
Gay.
Danny Kaye.
Gay.
Charles Nelson Riley and
Gay.
And Rock Hudson, whom I frankly don't think was that funny. Rob, I love you like a brother.
Wait a minute. Don't love me like a brother.
No, and all kidding aside, it's been a great evening, and thank you for doing so much to make sure that no other kid ends up like you.
All right, so there you have it. That's the proof that Nick Reiner was justified in slaughtering his mother and father that many on the right are trying to make you believe today. And they're definitely right-wing troublemakers that are pushing this thing. And a lot of MAGA. You know, I know it because it's all people with blue checks and American flags. You want me to think you're an asshole? Have a blue check and an American flag. You're trying too hard. You're trying too hard, and that's telling. Our executive producer of today's show would like to chime in. Amen. Pearl clutching and pushing mediocrity is brilliant comedy. Maddie and I were talking about this the other day on the phone. Maddie and I are old friends. We were talking the other day on the phone about why is mediocre comedy being celebrated by this generation? And you know, it's mediocre because it's gutless. It's mediocre because it's cowardly comedy that is attempting to not offend anybody. And in doing so, I believe you're just offending the comedy sensibilities of real people. I mean, there are comedians out there who are just fucking terrible. And let me tell you, as somebody who knows a lot of dudes who run comedy clubs and operate bars that do comedy nights, they're suffering. They are suffering. Nobody is going to, they're getting rooms with like 15 people. Are they drawing men or women? They don't know. Because, you don't ask gender anymore. And these crowds that are coming out to the Improv on Thursday and Friday night to see some fucking hack that nobody's ever heard of, but apparently is popular on left-wing comedy channels. It's terrible. Comedy is terrible. Comedy should not be political. I always hated political comedy. I always hated. One of my best friends loved Dennis Miller. I fucking hated Dennis Miller. And we're talking about Dennis Miller in 1990. I'm like, why is he Mr. Smith Goes to Washington is supposed to be Dennis Miller's great stand-up comedy special. And yeah, he was pretty liberal back then. He was pretty progressive. He's one of these, I'm hip and I'm cool and blah, blah, blah. I don't like gays. What's wrong with them, babe? You know what I mean? He was that guy. But I still fucking hated it. Because I knew that he was just simply appealing to one group of people, whereas I like comedians like Hicks, Pryor, and Carlin, who are, going back to what we talked about at the start of the show, 100% authentic. Hicks, Pryor, and Carlin were not doing comedy for people who vote one way versus the other. They were doing comedy for Americans to then make up their mind about it, and that's why they're the greats. Yeah, Maddie doesn't like Matt Rife. She mentioned that to me, and I don't have an issue with Matt Rife. My thing with Matt Rife is that I'm not a fan of crowd work. Never have been. And that's kind of his thing. Crowd work, to me, having known the amount of comedians that I've known over the years, crowd work is lazy. Crowd work is what, the guy that's hysterical in your office can do when he gets up and does open mic, right? I will say this, though, in the vein and in the genre of crowd work, I think Matt Rife is really good at it. I think he's really good at it because I think he's a quick wit. And that's really what you have to be if you're going to do crowd work. You just have to be a quick wit. Yeah, so Maddie's very anti-Matt Rife. I'm not so anti-Matt Rife. Let's see here. See, Adam likes the fucking gender non-binary weird fucking people who talk about shit that nobody but Adam cares about. Adam taking his shit on Shane Gillis. Shane Gillis is in my opinion one of the best stand-up comedians working today. You want to talk about fearless? You want to talk about somebody who doesn't give a fuck, right, left, whatever? I think Gillis is a fucking baller, and he loves Notre Dame, so he's an Irish Catholic kid. Yeah, I support that. So no, I would not. And you know what? Nobody else would categorize Shane Gillis as mediocre. Adam would. Adam's never run a comedy club or knows anything about comedy other than he goes and sees comedians, which, makes him an expert. It does. Really does. It's like when I say about, people watching football, we got these experts on TV who apparently are better at watching football than us. But as far as Adam being out of his depth, he doesn't apparently know what sells. He doesn't apparently know what, is successful comedy in 2025, because Shane Gillis is about as successful doing whatever this new era of comedy is as anybody else. I think he's very funny. Wait a second. Hold on. Wait a second. Are you shitting on Nate Bargatze too? Nate Bargatze is a brilliant stand-up comedian. Nate Bargatze is brilliant. Trying to think if I would put him at number one right now out there working as far as somebody. I mean, the thing about Nate Bargatze is not only is his content strong, not only does he labor over jokes, and you can tell because they are worded perfectly. And that's the hard thing about a joke. Comics will tell you, Maddie will tell you. You have a funny concept and you write it 300 different ways before you get the exact wording that seems to be the funniest. Nate Bargatze is brilliant at that. So is Sebastian, though. Although I don't, Sebastian's a little bit more over the top performative, a little bit more about this is how I'm reacting to what I'm saying. And he's very funny doing that. But what it is that he's saying, I don't think is on the same level as like a Shane Gillis or a Nate Bargatze. But, hey, he's ringing those coffers. I can talk comedy forever. Man, there is a guy here in Chicago who is so funny. Oh my God, why can't I think of his name? He is so funny. You know what? I don't know him. I'm friends of his. And so I mean, I've been in the same room as, I can't even remember his name. He's so funny. For those of you in Dallas, he's like Paul Varghese. Like, not that his comedy is like Paul Varghese, but he's like Paul Varghese in Paul Varghese has been the best organically homegrown comedian that Dallas has had in years. Paul Varghese has been the top guy in Dallas. Paul Varghese is the guy that I've been saying for 25 years now. Why don't you go to LA? Justin Foster's out in LA. He's having some success. Why won't you go out to LA? And, Paul Varghese is a guy who can make a great living off of his talent without having to leave the area code that his phone is registered to. So that's a choice. And he's enjoying it, and he's doing very good. But we got this guy in Chicago who's just like that. I'm like, every time I see him, every time I watch like a YouTube thing of his, or when I see him at a club, and I've seen him twice now, every time I see him, I'm like, God, this guy is so good. Why is he here? Chicago is a comedy capital, but not necessarily for stand-up. We have a very good stand-up scene. But here in Chicago, you come to train as a comedic actor, right? That's what the Second City and the Improv Olympic and Comedy Sports and all those organic improv comedy training grounds that have been here for 70 years. That's what they do, and that's what we're known for. But we also do have a very good stand-up scene, because I'll tell you, a lot of those people who are training to be comedy actors are also stand-ups. But every time I see this guy, I'm like, why is he still here? Why hasn't he left? And he's like, he doesn't need to leave. This dude can probably clear $500,000 just being the best stand-up comic in Chicago. Why would he leave? His kids are in school. And he's right. He's right. Maddie talking about Paul. Paul doesn't want to go to LA because he knows they're going to typecast him as the new Aziz Ansari, and Aziz is, well, Aziz. That might be true, but I also think it's because he's, when you've got your situation set up and it's running well, why fuck with it? Why fuck with it for a drink? I think maybe he's cautious. But Paul could definitely do well in California. Who's this guy? Hold on. Why can't I remember his name? Guys, this is someone that I talk about all the time, and I can't remember his name. Let me see. I think his name is Tim. Why can't I think of his name? Oh boy. All right. Anyway, we don't need to waste any more time with that. How do we start talking about comedy? I can just do a whole show where we talk about comedy. That should just be another podcast that I do, where I just call some of my stand-up friends and say, talk to me for a half hour. And we just talk comedy. That's what it is. That's Maddie knows that's exactly what it is. He's the biggest, best in a small pond. Big fish, small pond, man. That's a very real thing, and it's very tempting and very seductive. It's we saw it in radio a lot back in the day, where you'd get a guy who was the number one morning man in, let's say, a mid-tier market, St. Louis. He's the number one morning guy in St. Louis, and New York comes to him and says, hey, we want to double your salary and have you move to New York. These guys, oftentimes, they would stay. Big fish, small pond. They like it. They don't want to go to New York, where all of a sudden, they're gone in 6 months because they got their asses kicked by Imus Stern and Opie and Anthony or whoever. No, they're dominant in St. Louis, so why not stay here? Why not be the celebrity? When you walk into the St. Louis Ribs place, they ain't got a lot of big time celebrities. So big fish, small pond is very alluring. You can stay in Dallas and you can dominate and you can be very, very comfortable with your position in the pecking order, or you can move to a new place where the promise of treasure is greater, but you're just going to be nothing again. You're just going to be stuck in the middle with everybody else. So, that's it. Barney says, that's interesting because I would liken Nate's comedy to that of a pre-Cosby show Bill Cosby. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, that's interesting because, again, we have to be honest. Bill Cosby is one of the great stand-up comedians of all time. We got to be honest. I mean, like I always say, folks, people are complicated. People have multiple levels. You can be one thing and then be the complete opposite. I bet you Hitler's dog loved him. I bet Hitler's dog thought Hitler was the fucking cat's meow. All right. Let's see here. What else do we do? We'll finish up this conversation. Paul could go anytime. He's super dialed in with Russell Peters, but he knows he's going to get shit gigs for a while. Brown says Russ Martin was the epitome of that. Yeah, Russ Martin is a good example of a big fish, small pond. But you know what used to fucking kill me about Russ? God, he was such a narcissist. He was such an egomaniac, and he was so duplicitous. He fucking hated his listeners. He did not like his listeners. He had no respect for them. Ugh. He had no respect for their intelligence. Like the shit that he would do. Like he used to, he would announce the day that ratings came out, Russ Martin, and then he would go on the air and he would go through the ratings and he would just destroy everybody. He was completely lying. He was totally lying. Every time Russ Martin got on the air and said, oh, the ratings came out, 13.5 number in the market for this show. We're the biggest show. Meanwhile, Kelly and I are in the program director's office actually going over the ratings, and I look at his and I'm like, he's at a 7.6. Why is he saying 13.5? He used to go on the air and talk about how he dominated the hardline. The hardline doubled up his number almost every fucking book. And then he'd get to us, and for some reason, Kelly and I never had a book where we weren't top 5. If you listen to our show and you complained about all the advertisers, that's fucking proof that we were top 5, okay? So say what you will about us. Maybe you didn't love our show, but some people did. And we were good enough for almost 15 years to clock top 5 numbers in a major market. Number 1, 1834 people. Nobody ever beat us in 1834 people. But Russ Martin would get to the ratings and he'd go, oh, okay, let's look at how other people on this station are doing. And he'd get to ours and he'd go, oh, Pugs and Kelly are in last place. And we're sitting there discussing what our bonus is going to be with the program director because we fucking doubled our number. And I got this guy on the air telling the audience that nobody's listening to us and that we suck. That's who Russ Martin was. He was afraid of us. Bottom line, he was afraid of us. He was afraid of everybody. He was afraid of everybody that was somehow doing the same thing to him. He wanted to be the only guy all the time. He's a fucking narcissist, egomaniacal sociopath. That's Russ Martin. And by the way, you can hear not just me say that, but you can hear this echoed by everybody from my partner, Kelly, to former people who were in sales, to former management of the station, to Jagger, to Dan O'Malley. You can hear all of their thoughts on Russ Martin. If you think that I'm just the one that's being bitter, well, I insist. I insist that you all check out Who Killed Live 105.3, a 10-part podumentary series coming to Radio Misfits. Executive produced by James Parker of WBAP. It's a terrific listen. And it's not just me. It's not just, there goes Pugs going off against the Saint Russ Martin. No, fuck it. You're going to hear everybody talk about who this guy really was and how he indemnified himself with these bullshit charities that are they're still fucked up. Yeah, let's get some lawyers looking at what lawyers do look at. I got to be careful what I say. It was all a big fucking Potemkin village. Look at how good I am. Look at how good I am. Boy, that son of a bitch really turned on the cops when they arrested him for beating the fuck out of his fiance, didn't he? Yeah, the minute he smacked his fiance around, he suddenly started talking about how awful the cops are. That's who Russ Martin was. That's who he was. All right, but that means nothing to new listeners because nobody remembers Russ Martin, thankfully. Just a few more people remember Russ Martin than maybe remember Pugs and Kelly. That's my hope. Nobody remembers any of us. We'll find out. New Year's Day, RadioMisfits.com drops the entire 10-episode Who Killed Live 1053. All right, let's get running. Let's go. Let's see here. What do we want to get into on today's show? Let's get started. We're already a freaking hour into it. All right, Trump gave a talk yesterday. I thought it was going to be a declaration of war, right? I told you yesterday what I wanted to hear from the president. I was expecting, or I wanted to hear either him explain what's going on in Venezuela, because we're hearing a whole bunch of stuff we don't know. Explain to us. I've got a 16-year-old son. Explain to me why in 2 years you're going to try and send him off to die in Central America. I want to know what the fuck is going on in Venezuela. We didn't get that. We didn't get that yesterday. I had then hoped, I said, you know what? If this guy was smart and if he was a decent human being, he'd open the fucking thing up with going, hey, man, you know that thing that I wrote about Rob Reiner? Look, I just want to say, sometimes, I'm sensitive. I think you all know that. And sometimes I don't react in the best way. And, he was mean to me and I got to work on that. And it was a terrible thing that I said. And nobody deserves that. Nobody deserves to die at the hands of a child that they've loved and struggled with. That's all the fucking president of the United States needed to say. Could have just spent 3 minutes on that. Just show us that you're not a fucking monster. And we didn't get that either. Bullshit. You know what we got? We got the first American televised Festivus celebration. That's what we got. We got this guy who is fucking spinning right now, and we see it, and we're all watching it. Even you MAGA people, you're watching it, because I know there is no greater conversation in MAGA circles than, are we still with this guy, or are we with somebody else? Meanwhile, the rest of us have been watching this unravel since 2016. We're like, this ain't good. Whatever this guy is up to, it ain't good. So last night he gets up, interrupts, I don't even know what's on primetime TV anymore at 8 o'clock, interrupts everybody's TV, not for some declaration of war, not for some, attempt in this holiday season to be a human being. No, he got up and celebrated Festivus, just listed off grievances, all the people who are against him, all the great things that he's done, if he does say so himself. What the fuck is that? I mean, does a normal person sitting on their Barca lounger having a drink, wearing their red hat, see this guy get up and say the shit that he did last night and go, yeah, everybody should love you more. You should. I feel so bad that this guy isn't loved more. The fuck, man? It's Christmas. You just did a really shitty thing. The country doesn't know what the hell is going on in Venezuela. The economy is in the toilet. Your base is falling the fuck apart. And as I say, provide them an off-ramp. Provide your friends and family who maybe went all in on the MAGA thing, provide them an off-ramp. When they come back and start talking normal again, don't be like, don't be a dick. But also don't forget, I'll never forget. I'll never forget the political inclinations of the people in my world. I know who should never be in charge of anything. We know that, but we have to welcome him back. We have to welcome him back. You know, treat him decent. Don't fucking tease him, and don't bring this up ever again. When he eventually dies in prison, that's when you can, that's when you can go, hey, since he just died in prison, I'd like to talk to you about your former hero and savior. Then you can do it, because then they got nothing, because then he's dead. Never mind. I was going to say, I'm not even going to go into it. Doesn't need to go into it. I received a text last night, immediately following the speech. After I tweeted something. I think he's flailing, because he was. At some point, I just expected him to be up there, like, and then another thing. Like, it was so weird. Diehard Texas MAGA guy. Diehard, successful dude. Friend of mine texted me and said, I'm out. And I know that he's got to represent at least 10,000 people. You know what I mean? One person represents, he's not the only person in America who was a MAGA guy who donated money. He's big in the Texas Republican Party. Or I should say Collin County GOP. I'm out. Texted me, I'm out. And then I just texted back, LOL, which I know doesn't adhere to my provide him an off-ramp thing. But that's encouraging. It is encouraging that people who were drawn to the things he promised are starting to realize that there are no promises to be fulfilled. That everything is getting worse. And the only person who is having a fucking bang-up year is the Trump family. The Trump family, oh my God, 2025 was unbelievable for them financially. So that's what he did. He got up, he listed some grievances, and we all went to bed like, what the fuck was that? Let me tell you something else, too. Let me just, he did the Biden, and if it's not Biden, it's Hillary, or it's not Hillary, it's the Obamas. Fucking, are you kidding me? These people are as irrelevant in modern American politics as any other name you could come up with that we haven't heard in years. Hillary Clinton is an old woman on her back porch in fucking New York looking at birds. Michelle Obama is out in California doing the Jimmy Kimmel show, selling books and having dinner parties. These people are not relevant. They're not involved anymore. But you know their names. And you know that you're supposed to hate them. So the president gets up and he's throwing Biden, Sleepy Joe, Biden. He's a foolish man. And he's angry, and he's trying to stoke your anger by mentioning these names of people who have absolutely nothing to do with the future of the opposition to MAGA. They have nothing to do with it. But you think Joe Biden's going to run again? No. But he's just throwing it out there. He's just throwing it's red meat to the stupids. This motherfucker ought to be worried about people like Maggie Goodlander or Abby fucking Spanberger. That's who he ought to be talking about, not fucking Hillary or Biden or the Obamas. Now, I was talking yesterday about how I don't really, it's like, I don't know, man. I'm looking around for people. I'm trying to find somebody that I can go, okay, at the very least, here's where my bar is set. My bar is now set for potential people to run this country. Here's where it's set. Are they just a basically decent human being? That's it. That's where my bar is now. For leader of the free world. Is the free world just, to my estimation, a basically decent human being? And as far as the Democrats go, I don't know what the hell they're thinking. Gavin Newsom? Is Gavin Newsom supposed to be the guy that we're... For any of you Gen Xers out there, Gavin Newsom is Johnny fucking Bravo. If you get the Johnny Bravo reference, that's who Gavin Newsom is. And the Dems made this mistake last time when they ran Hillary. Remember, they ran Hillary. Why did they run Hillary? They ran Hillary because it was her turn. And that's what the Democratic Party is. It's very orderly. And it really doesn't matter if we win or not. We just have to elevate certain personalities that we think represent our brand. And it's Gavin Newsom's time. I don't even know if I dislike Gavin Newsom. All I know is the obvious choice for them to run is probably not the one that's going to win. The GOP went through this. The GOP went through this in the 90s when they had fucking running people like Bob Dole because it's his turn. No, man, the Democrats need to organically find new people. Texas has one. Texas has that James Teleferico. Now, he's a nothing. He is at the state level. But I'll tell you, that seems like a good human being. He is a good person. He is a decent guy. He's the guy that'll pull over and help you change your tire on the side of the road. You fucking think Donald Trump has ever pulled over to help somebody change a tire? And that's the guy you relate to. Again, I don't know really enough about this James Teleferico guy, other than I know that he pisses off MAGA in Texas, and he seems like a really nice dude. Seems like a really nice kid. Isn't he a preacher? He's a real Christian. He's a real Christian. Because no real Christian is MAGA. Because Trump isn't a Christian. Why does nobody have a problem with the fact that Trump doesn't go to church? Why the fuck is that completely overlooked? Biden went to church every Sunday. Every Sunday at the National Cathedral, Biden went to church. Biden also went to Catholic Mass sometimes on Wednesdays. That's how devoutly Christian Biden was. Trump doesn't go to church. The first family does not go to church. And yet Christians are like, he's a good Christian man. Biden's evil. What has this man done to you people? All I can think is that he hasn't done anything other than fucking tap into really dumb people. So yesterday I went looking. Yesterday I was like, you know what? There are a couple of people that I like. I've seen them over the times, and I want to check them out. Trump out here worrying about fucking Hillary Clinton and Michelle Obama. The right talking about, they're worried about AOC and Jasmine Crockett. Those two fuckers. Here's the problem with AOC and Jasmine Crockett. They will never win nationally because there have now been years of the right-wing MAGA media machine branding them. They have been branded. People know who Jasmine Crockett is. Jasmine Crockett is a congresswoman who represents Duncanville and Oak Cliff in Dallas. That's who Jasmine Crockett is. Nobody in Oregon or nobody in rural Montana should know who the fuck Jasmine Crockett is. But they do, because she's been branded, which means, can't run these people. These people are not real threats. AOC is not a real threat. AOC might be a real threat for governor of New York or something like that. But on the national, no. They've been branded. They've been ruined. And there's people on the right that can't run nationally because of that. Your Jim Jordans, people like, they can't run national. They've been branded by the other side. So what you need is somebody that hasn't been branded. That's what Trump took advantage of. Everybody, remember when the first Republican debate in 2016, when Trump stood up there with 11 other people, and it's like they all looked like a bunch of goons? And Trump just went, look at these fags. Basically that was his first debate. The outsider that hadn't been branded, or at least the branding came from his narration. He branded himself for years and years. I'm the best. I'm the best. Meanwhile, everybody else is like, wait, wasn't there just a headline that said that he bankrupted a casino last week? He's walking around talking about he's the best. He branded himself. He came out of nowhere, and they got excited about something that they could then project their own wants and needs onto. He was a blank slate for a lot of people, because a lot of people chose to see him as a blank slate. Meanwhile, the rest of us were like, he ain't a blank slate. You guys think that he's definitely got a plan. He knows what he wants to get out of this, and it ain't helping you and the good folks in your trailer park. It ain't that. So that's if they want to offer any kind of legitimate opposition to this guy, the other side has to come up with somebody who hasn't already been branded. They got to come up with somebody who a reasonable Republican in, say, Iowa or somewhere else can go, oh, I've never heard of her. Let me hear about her. Or, oh, I've never heard of him. Let me hear about him. See, you can't go to that normal, everyday, middle of the road Republican who holds their nose and votes for Trump because, hell, they're not the libtards. You can't go to that person and say, well, you should listen to what Jasmine Crockett has to say, or you should listen to what AOC has to say. You can't go to that person. That person will be like, fuck them. But you can go to that person and you should say, can I tell you about Maggie Goodlander? Who's Maggie Goodlander? You can go to that person and you can say, can I tell you about Abby Spanberger? Let me tell you about Abby Spanberger. See, because they haven't had 6 months of Jesse Waters, telling them what to think about Maggie Goodlander or Abby Spanberger. But don't tell me that there aren't people out there that are interesting, that are decent. Maggie Goodlander, she's a former naval intelligence officer. She's a U.S. rep from New Hampshire. She's fucking well-spoken. She's courageous. She's not afraid to call bullshit. Every time I have seen Maggie Goodlander, I've gone, fuck yeah. That's an American. That's an American woman. Naval intelligence. She's fucking smart. Abby Spanberger just got elected the governor of Virginia. She's the governor-elect of Virginia. She is also from naval intelligence, which is interesting. No, I mean, it's certainly interesting if you're a conspiracy fucking minded weirdo. All these right-wing guys, all these conservatives are suddenly conspiracy-minded. Naval intelligence. You fuckers didn't have a problem when it was George Bush. Republicans had no problem back in, 90, 92, when was it? When Bush became president? They had no problem whatsoever with taking the guy who led the CIA and letting him be the president. You're like, oh yeah, no, that's good for America. But now you're going to find a problem with a couple of really smart, accomplished women. Because what? They were really good at naval intelligence? Well, that just means they're part of the deep state. Fuck you. There is no deep state. What there is an insane red tape-laden bureaucracy. That's what there is. It's not a deep state. But, you need to have this spooky, scary thing to get a mob together so that this mob can then be angry at this spooky, scary, made-up thing. And we called it the deep state, and now everybody thinks everybody is fucking... This is an incomplete project, the United States of America. We are incomplete. Democracy isn't perfect. It's fucking messy. Nobody ever promised you anything other than that. But it's the best system going. There is no deep state running everything. There is no trilateral commission. There is nothing other than fucking weird business deals going down at wherever these big business meetings are. The world is too complicated, and there are way too many people in control of the switches to have everybody be, uniformed in one deep state. No, there's only 8 people, and they control the whole world. Oh, shut the fuck up. You're crazy. That's nonsense. You're a dumb person. This is all chaos. And certainly here in America, we've got this form of government called democracy. It is the least troubling form of organized chaos, but it is still organized chaos. It's not perfect. It's what we got. So there you go. So Trump gave his speech. It angered everybody. And I mean everybody. The speech did not go over well. I mean, look, I'm sure that you may have tuned into somebody on Newsmax or Truth Social TV or whatever, and they were like, it was the greatest speech ever. It's up there with Churchill. It was an embarrassment, and just about everybody agrees it's an embarrassment. Of course, everybody on the left who hates Trump will tell you it's an embarrassment. But then you got everybody in the middle. Everybody in the middle, like my friend, who's not in the middle. I'm in the middle. My friend was definitely on Trump's side. But then you've got like these Republican, independent-minded but right-leaning people who, again, I describe as having voted for Trump despite all of the nonsense, held their nose, voted for Trump. Why? Because the Democrats offered something that was even worse to their sensibilities. Those people are done. Those people are leaving. I don't think this guy's going to go through his full term. If this continues to compound in the way that it did, and oh yeah, tomorrow we got the Epstein shit, Let's have him gone by New Year's Day. Let's do that. Let's wave to the fucking family as they get on the helicopter to go to their Qatari gifted jumbo jet and then let him fly off into exile in some Middle Eastern country because that's where he's going. Sneak out in the middle of the night to avoid any kind of prosecution. You just wait in the midterms. You think this guy's going to finish out his term? The Democrats, and I don't even know if this is a good thing, but the Democrats are going to destroy MAGA. They've won they basically won every election. They're destroying Trump districts. The numbers are falling apart. And now you've got MAGA Republicans who are now caucusing with Democrats. We're seeing that right now, happening right now. Well, not right now because they sent everybody home. They sent everybody home in our two houses. Why? Because the Epstein files are being released today. They were supposed to, or tomorrow. They were supposed to leave tomorrow. Friday before Christmas was supposed to be the last day. But Mike Johnson said, hey, you can all leave early. Why? Because none of them want to be around to have to answer for what we find out in the Epstein files tomorrow. Those are the people we have representing us. I'm not shitting you. They surprised everybody and they left last night. Mike Johnson gave everybody permission to not have to do anything on Friday. Coincidentally, the day the Epstein files drop. And we're all just like, okay, that's okay. Remember when they did this before? Mike Johnson did this before when it came down to signing in or swearing in, I guess, that new chick from Arizona who won a congressional seat and, tipped the balance of release the Epstein files. Remember that girl? That girl, all they needed was her to be sworn in. And what did Mike Johnson do? Because he didn't want her signing on to the Epstein release. What did Johnson do? Oh, he adjourned the House. Send everybody home early. Yeah, oh, sorry, sweetie. We can't sign you in and make you. I know you're duly elected, and that's sort of the backbone of this entire thing we got going here. But we're gonna go home for I don't know, a while. And then, the government shut down, so we're gonna delay it even longer. These fucking games, man. We're done with them, right? We're tired. Just get a bunch of fucking robots. Let's let AI be Congress now. Let's see how that goes. Let's try that for about 20 years. Brown University, we got an update here. Brown University, we head into day 6 on Saturday. Some fucking psychopath walked into a study hall. Not a study hall, it's a hall. It's a classroom. It's a classroom building. And shot a whole bunch of people. Just gang. Just shot a whole bunch of people. Killed two lovely young people. 2 lovely young bright stars. They go to fucking Brown University. And neither of them looked like they were particularly rich. So I'm not going to call them Ivy League legacies. They looked like smart, engaged young people with beautiful fucking futures. And this dude walked in and went gang, shot a whole bunch of people, killed 2 of them, and then just disappeared into the wind 6 fucking days ago. We live in a surveillance state. No, apparently we don't. You can't do anything without being videotaped. Apparently you can walk into a college classroom, murder a bunch of people, and get away with it without being videotaped. It's insane to me. This is another one of those examples of things that I thought were real that aren't. 6 days. This dude's probably living in an apartment down the block. Just hanging out. I mean, unless they just arrest somebody to arrest somebody, because that's probably how this thing ends. There is no way that they're going to allow there to not be somebody in custody. If they have to trump some shit up, no pun intended, they will absolutely frame somebody for this. But it's been 6 days. They better have a strong case against whoever they put in cuffs eventually, because they'll put somebody in cuffs eventually. There's no way the governor of Rhode Island can survive this if they don't arrest somebody. So you're telling me that somebody could just walk into one of our buildings here in Rhode Island and just kill a bunch of people and then just be gone? No problem. Gone. No Ring doorbells. I mean, we got Ring doorbells, but because we normalized the wearing of masks, this fucker's wearing a mask, and so the Ring doorbells are pretty much useless, other than the fact that we know that he's a dumpy white guy. What is the latest? They got a new guy that they're looking for, and this actually plays into something we talked about yesterday. I pointed this out yesterday, and now today it's a news story. Miss a day, miss a lot. That's what we do here. Let's see here. Brown University shooting. Investigators seek another person of interest who they think could be a potential witness. So the FBI is now looking, we saw the video of a dumpy fat guy in the mask. We saw that video of him walking around, meandering is, I believe, how I described it. We saw that. We know who that fucking clown show is. But now there's another guy. There's another guy that they're like, oh, hey, maybe we ought to talk to this guy because, he got really close to him. So yesterday when we were talking about this, I told you about how I watched the entire cobbled together FBI released video of all the movements of the subject. When I say cobbled together, it's a combination of Ring doorbells and street cameras and whatever else they had at their disposal to use to cobble this together. But what you get is you get an idea of what this shooter was doing before and after the shooting went down. And you see him, and I told you about this yesterday, you see him walking down this street, this residential street, and then you see him sort of coincide with another person. Remember I told you about this? And then the other person doesn't engage with him or anything. They're just two people walking down a sidewalk that pass each other. But as the second person turns a corner, you see the shooting suspect stop, double back, look around the corner, and then stand and watch this person walk away. Now, I'm watching this on the cobbled together FBI video that was released a couple of days ago. I'm watching this happen, and I go, why aren't we talking to that guy? That guy got a good look at him. Look at it. It looks like this shooter, the potential shooter, is considering right now whether or not he should shoot this guy right there on the street. So the police are now looking for that guy. They must have listened to the stream yesterday and said, hey, there's a guy with 20 listeners who is saying, because that's what they're doing now. They're offering up to a $50,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of the gunman, although they qualify it. It's the arrest and conviction. Yeah, it's Christmas time. It's like, if you want to out this dude, you're like, man, I could really use $50K for Christmas. And who couldn't? Do you know what $1,000 would do to this show? $1,000 would radically change this show for the next 3 months. But if you want $50K and you know who the shooter is and you're thinking, I'm going to turn him in and I'm going to get that $50K for Christmas. No, they qualify. $50K for the arrest and conviction. So you're going to have to wait like 5 years to get this money. And then hope that the local prosecutors don't fuck up the case. Because the only way you get your $50K is for an arrest and a conviction. Investigators are continuing to search for a person of interest and a potential witness in connection with the deadly Saturday shooting at Brown University. Officials shed new light on the investigation Wednesday, sharing a photo of that potential witness, publishing a map of this person of interest's movements, and revealing that they do have physical DNA evidence, though it has not yet led to the identity of a suspect. Police described the person of interest in what does it say? Police described the person of interest in a two-tone coat. He is believed to be about 5'8" tall, but his face is partially covered by a mask, and his hair is covered by a winter hat. Oh, this is the dumpy guy. He spent hours in the neighborhood around the university on Saturday. See, that's the thing that is kind of interesting about the cobbled together video. He is meandering. He's not going anywhere. He's walking around. He walks up this block, crosses, walks down the other side. It's weird. It's odd. The potential witness is an individual who police said was in proximity to the person of interest. Yeah, he was. He walked right by him. And then the person of interest, the shooter suspect, looked like he wanted to shoot and kill this guy as he walked right past him. It was odd. It's a long cobbled together video, and I don't know where it is, but I would love to be able to show it to you today. But you know what? I'm not going to work that hard on a Thursday. It's Packer week in this town. My mind is elsewhere. The photo appears to show a person near the Rhode Island Historical Society building, which the person of interest walked past several times. All right, so here you go. All right, we'll show you this picture. This is not a great picture. This picture is too big. There we go. We'll do it this way. Boom, boom. There we go. Okay. So you see the guy in the blue right here without the mask. All right. This is the guy that walked right past him. This is the guy that I clocked immediately going, are we talking to that guy? That guy walked right past him. 5 days in, I said, we should talk to that guy. They should get that guy. On day 6, the actual people in charge of this fucking thing go, we should look for that guy. Why weren't you looking for that guy? Why now? Why today? Why weren't you? You had this video. You saw this dude. Anyway, there he is. Here's the shooter. Look at him. Big fucking fat belly. Big slob of a piece of shit. Nobody will fuck him. He's probably online all the time. He's like, girls just want guys over 6 foot. Right? That's the big lament that dudes have now. I'm 5'8". I'm built like a light bulb. And then there's this guy. This is the dude who was just walking down the street. This guy, I don't know if he's a black guy. I don't know what he is. I can't really tell. It looks to be some ethnic facial shaping going on here, but I don't know. It's blurry, so it may just be a result of the blur. I don't know. Well, they're looking to talk to this guy. And this guy is, of course, still in the wind. Look at this athlete. I can see why he would still be in the wind. I imagine him running through fields with bloodhounds chasing him. And he's running through swamps. Look at this guy. How could you ever catch a specimen like this? This fucking guy's on his couch eating fucking nachos, watching ESPN, kicking his door. Anyway, there he is. That's all. That's the update on the Brown University. Oh, what else do we have here? Chat producer April, news briefing at 3 p.m. Central Time. News briefing on Brown, I'm guessing. I'm hoping. She also says, well, headline is misleading. It's possible connections. What are you talking about? They're not connected. I know the headline is I don't know what you're talking. Are you talking about the, I don't care. Doesn't matter. I'm just spewing. Adam with a very strong point. It's Rhode Island, so it's at most a dark Italian. Yeah. I love those dark Italians. I love them. I got 2 friends who are dark Italians. I'm Italian. No, you're not. I'm Italian. My name's Mike Tirico. I'm Italian. No, you're not. My name's Dan Bongino. I'm Italian. No, you're not. No, you're not. Not fully. Sorry. I don't know if back in 1870 they would have considered you Italian, but you just go with it. But he is right. Rhode Island is filled with East Coast Italians. Rhode Island's a big Italian state. Big Italian stallion type state. Oh, I see what you're saying. This is fascinating. Thank you, Maddie. Maddie is talking about the 3 p.m. press conferences about a story that we haven't talked about. I meant to do it yesterday. I also meant to talk about the Susie Wiles situation yesterday. She's the White House chief of staff. We didn't get to it because I ended up going like 3 hours and I was supposed to do something after the show and that didn't happen. Anyway, long story short, an MIT professor was murdered in his home 2 nights ago. A very, very well-regarded MIT professor. I don't know if you've read this guy's bio, but he's like one of only 2 people in the fucking world who know how to do something. I mean, he's one of those guys. And somebody murdered him. Now, you could say, oh, that's just street crime. Or you can go back to the idea of he's one of only 2 people in the world who know how to do something, and somebody went into his apartment and murdered him in a nice area, in an area that typically doesn't have people kicking in doors and murdering people. because I don't know if I told you this, but he's an MIT professor and an author. Apparently, he's got a bunch of books. Anyway, that's an interesting story. And what Maddie is saying is there are some people, and I don't mean to. I'm not disparaging anybody who says this, but there is some belief that I have seen that there could be a connection between what occurred on Saturday at Brown University there in Providence, Rhode Island, and what happened 2 nights later at MIT or in the apartment. I mean, we're talking about 2 elite universities. So, that isn't, we're talking about 2 elite universities that are in the same relative area. Driving from Brown University to MIT can be done in an evening. You could drive from Brown University to MIT, do a meeting, get in the car, drive back home to Brown University and be home well before dinner, right? It's not out of the realm of speculation that these 2 things could be related. So I guess at 3:00, we're going to have a press conference and maybe they'll address that because some people are saying it, but we do not know. April with more breaking news. We like to do that here. She says another breaking news story. Cessna plane crashed, killing retired NASCAR driver Greg Biffle and family. Biffle and family were... Oh, that's terrible. Greg Biffle was one of our favorite NASCAR people to have on the show. Greg Biffle. I mean, I knew about the story. I saw the plane crash. The video was going around on Twitter and all of that. But I had no idea that Biffle was in this. Oh my God. Hold on. This is big breaking news. This is, guys, holy shit. Guys, we are going to, well, I mean, my God. We're going to fill up. We're going to get another death trilogy. We're going to get another 2025 celebrity death trilogy. If this, what is happening here? Fatalities have been confirmed. Okay, let me see here. Wow. Biffle. Our favorite driver, our favorite people to have on for NASCAR were Greg Biffle and Kevin Harvick. The Harvicks are awesome. Kevin Harvick and his wife are so fun. They took me and Kelly out to dinner. We went to this fancy Fort Worth steakhouse that we'd never heard of. They were so lovely. And then they came on and they did the show again the next day. That's the Harvicks. The Harvicks are great. I'm not a big NASCAR fan, but I am a good people fan. And Kevin Harvick and his wife, Jeannie? I don't remember. They're awesome. But Greg Biffle too, man. Greg Biffle probably did my show 10 times. I mean, Greg Biffle was one of the guys that would come with Texas Motor Speedway. Let's see here. What do we have? Breaking news. Here we go. Authorities in North Carolina have confirmed fatalities after a business jet owned by semi-retired NASCAR driver Greg Biffle crashed on Thursday. The Cessna C-50, yeah, look at him. Jesus, man. Do you see what I mean? Our next breath is not promised. They were on this airplane preparing for landing or whatever. I don't know the details of it. Just breathing, and one of them was suddenly their last. And we've got to live our lives that way. We've got to live our lives understanding that nothing is promised. That everything that we do in the moment, you shouldn't live for the moment because that's all we have is to live for the moment, to be kind in the moment, to be decent in the moment, to be cool in the moment, to have fun in the moment, to laugh in the moment. It's all we have because we only have so many moments. The fucking Biffle family has been wiped from the face of the earth. Telling me they didn't have big Christmas plans? Jesus. This is sad. This is really sad. The airport's website says that they offer corporate aviation facilities for Fortune 500 companies and several NASCAR teams. The National Transportation Safety Board is leading the investigation into the crash with a GO team scheduled to arrive on the scene this evening. WJZY report the Jizz. Yeah, man, North Carolina's #1 Jizz station, WGZY, the Jizz. WJZY reports that the airport is closed until further notice, with crews saying it will take time to clear the debris off the runway. Biffle is a 19-time winner on NASCAR's Cup Series and the first driver to win championships on the Xfinity Series and the Truck Series. An experienced pilot, Biffle used his private helicopter to help deliver supplies to North Carolina residents who were stranded by flooding brought on by Hurricane Helene in September of 2024. All right. I don't want to be a vulture, so there's pictures out there. There's flaming wreckage. But that is shocking and upsetting because Greg Biffle was a nice man. He was a nice man. Who was not a nice man? Oh, you know who else was a nice man in driving, though? Driving guys. Not NASCAR, but IndyCar open-wheeled. Helio Castroneves. We loved Helio Castroneves almost as much as we loved Kevin Harvick and Greg Biffle. Race car guys are cool. Race car guys are nice. They're not like other athletes who are just nice when the mics are on, and then as soon as they're off the air, they turn into the fucking entitled jagoffs that we all know them to be. No, that's your baseball, football. No, but now drivers, race car drivers, really nice. And you want to know why I think they're really nice? Because you want to talk about people who live understanding that nothing is promised. I think that's why seriously, think about that. Nobody understands that this could be their last interview better than a fucking race car driver, okay? They're nice. They're nice people. Yeah, I don't know. April says he got his pilot's license. He could have been a pilot. I don't know. I've got friends who got pilot's licenses. They fly. You want to go up to Madison for a sandwich? No, not really. Although I will confess that I have jumped on an airplane at Midway and gone to Madison, Wisconsin for lunch. There's a big difference between getting your pilot's license and being able to pilot one of those jets. Like, that's a whole different kind of thing. So I don't know if Greg Biffle getting his pilot's license and then them explaining that he can fly a helicopter, that doesn't mean that he can fly. I don't know that he was driving. I don't know that he was flying. But yeah, we'll find out. I mean, that's a big jet plane, right? I think wasn't it a business jet? And I think that's what it was described as. So that's a pretty big plane. But yeah, April, you're right. We don't know. We could find out. Who knows? Maybe he figured he could take a crack at it. He's probably fearless. I mean, most drivers are. Wow, what a terrible story. All right, here's a not so terrible story. Dan Bongino, who's definitely Italian. He's definitely an Italian white guy. Dan Bongino is out at the FBI. We've been hearing this, I don't know, like 2 weeks after he took the job, they started going, he doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know what he's doing. And here's what happened with Dan Bongino. Dan Bongino made a whole lot of money in the right-wing radio bullshit economy. He made a whole lot of money. He sold books. Dan Bongino will be appearing at the Tampa Hilton this weekend for the, I don't know, Fight to the Right conference or what, these things. These dudes, you realize these dudes make like $100,000 just for going to a fucking convention center for a week. Money. He was making so much money. And the way he made money, the way he connected with his audience, and he didn't have a big audience. Dan Bongino was never successful, but he had the right demographic audience, which is middle-aged white men who buy Cadillacs and attend Promise Keepers meetings. That's really who he had, and that's all the advertisers wanted to reach. So not a large audience, but a very specific audience. And what he did for years, not a real long time, how long was he on the air? I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years, something like that. What he did for years was basically engage in every nonsense conspiracy theory that was out there. The Epstein files, chief among them. Oh, he knew all the secrets about the Epstein files, and there are things that he can't say because he's on the radio. But he absolutely knew what the Biden White House and the Biden FBI was doing wrong. Oh, yeah, they're hiding the Epstein files. That was his whole fucking bread and butter. And he used He used what used to be the honor and dignity of having been a United States Secret Service agent to leverage his credibility. Talking about cosmic pizza or whatever the fuck. He was a conspiracy theorist who fed misinformation to stupid people and then got them all riled up. And then he got a chance to actually do the job that he'd been criticizing so relentlessly for years and years. Got a chance to do the job. And he got up there, and guess what he had to do? Remember when he had to say there was nothing more in the Epstein files? And people went, but I listened to you for 6 years, and you were telling me that they were lying to us. And now you're in that position, and you're saying that what, you were lying then when you were on the radio? So all you said was lies, because now you're saying that, no, there's nothing to see in the Epstein files. Well, that was an untenable situation for this guy, and he's been booted out of the FBI. I know that the official story is that he never intended to stay. Oh, fuck you. People don't give up power. He never intended to stay for. He was always expected to leave after the first year. Well, he's leaving after 8 months. He didn't even make it a year. So shut the fuck up with that story. He's become an embarrassment. Nobody takes him seriously, and he has fucked up any number of investigations so far in his very short 8-month tenure as deputy director of the FBI. So he's fucking gone. And you know who's gone next? His boss. They're all going to start falling. Bongino will go. Bondi will be next. She only intended to be attorney general for a year. Oh, shut the fuck up. This is all by design. No, it's not. The administration has shit the bed, and they have stocked the cupboard with a bunch of people who don't know what they're fucking doing, but play well on camera to the dumbest fucking people in America. So that's how we get the weekend news anchor as Secretary of Defense. A guy not even good enough to be primetime Monday through Friday is now in charge of the world's largest defense department. So Bongino's got to go back to his radio. And guess what? You fucking simps will be back. Because he'll come up with something. Oh, I got back inside it, and you have no idea how deep the corruption goes. Fucker, you were just there. Your job was, I thought you were going to get in there and end the corruption. Nah, he'll be welcome back. He'll be welcome back. Because again, his audience are a bunch of dumb fucking simps. They're the worst. And you can always count on being able to manipulate a dumb fucking simp. Dan Bongino. White guy. I love that. I'm Italian. No, you're not, Dan. You know why you're so fucked? First of all, he's one of those guys. He's probably, 5'8"? You know, he's like a little guy, so he tries to get wide. I love that. I love that with little guys. Now I know that I have the arrogance of a 6-foot man. Hey, I made the level. I made 6 foot. Fuck you, don't hate me. I'm not ridiculous. I'm not 6'3". That's ridiculous. Anything over 6'3", now you're silly. My boyfriend is 6'6". He's silly. That's a silly height. The world is not built for him. The world is built for dudes between 5'10" and 6'2". That's what the world is built for. Anybody under 5'10" is short. See, that's the thing. You may not be 6 foot. You might be 5'10". You might be 5'11". You're not 6 foot. And that's sort of the line of demarcation. But you're not a short guy. You can't be a short guy at 5'11". Can't be a short guy at 5'10". That's not short. Because you run up on a 5'2" guy and you're like, oh, hi, Dan Bongino. Anyway, he's out. Don Jr. has gotten engaged to he got younger at the position. If you remember, Don Jr. used to be engaged to Kimberly Guilfoyle, the woman who was married to Johnny Bravo, Gavin Newsom. She was married to the embodiment of the left Democratic male. She was married to him, the embodiment of it. Johnny Bravo fits the suit, Gavin Newsom. And then she fell out of love with him and fell in love with a completely different guy. Completely different. I don't know how that works. I think it suggests that she's not authentic. I think it suggests that, she's a climber. Let's look at this picture. Here you go, because the story is pretty funny. See, Don Jr. for 6 years was engaged to Kimberly Guilfoyle. There she is on the left. There is Don's new fiance on the right. It's beautiful. She's some Palm Beach socialite lady. Just look at this. I like how they do the picture too. Like the side by side. It looks like Kimberly Guilfoyle is like, I see you robbing the cradle. Meanwhile, she's like, a woman in her mid 40s or something like that. But Kimberly Guilfoyle, who's breathing down the neck of 60, she doesn't like to see that. Engaged to John Jr. for 6 months or for 6 years. She probably thought that she was going to have a big White House wedding. And oh my God. Fuck. She was like 7 years older than Don Jr. She's like, how did she think that was ever going to work? At some point, Don Jr. was going to be like, you know what? You're like 6 months away from 60, and I'm still only 52. So we're out. I got to move on. And he did. Don Jr. got younger at the position. Got younger, and he seems to have gotten nicer, too, because everything that I've seen of this girl that he's dating now, and I am certain that she's not nice. I don't think nice is a word that ever gets applied to a Palm Beach socialite. But she seems better than Kimberly Guilfoyle. So, as we're looking at these pictures of the couples, let's talk about what's really going on here. Okay, so Kimberly Guilfoyle and Don, they were engaged for 6 years, and then things started to fall apart. Kimberly Guilfoyle got more involved in Donald Trump's campaign and in his all the organizing and all that. And apparently, it was during the transition or the lead up to the transition where there's a story that Kimberly Guilfoyle actually introduced Don Jr. to this new chick. I don't know. At any rate, Don Jr. at some point in his 6-year relationship, his 6-year engagement, to Kimberly Guilfoyle, found this new chick, and he was smitten. And for a couple of months, people were like, are they still together? Is Kimberly Guilfoyle and Don Jr. still engaged? Because there was never an official announcement that Don and Kimberly were not engaged anymore. Not like last night. Wasn't it last night or the night before that President Trump got up and introduced, my son Don Jr. is now engaged to this smoke show. I'm sure he said something like that. Anyway, it was a big announcement. Don Jr. is now engaged to her. But it raises the question, they never really officially broke off the engagement with Kimberly Guilfoyle. See, what happened was Don Jr. didn't even have to break up with Kimberly Guilfoyle because Daddy made her the ambassador to Greece. Daddy sent Don Jr.'s soon-to-be former fiance to Greece with an ambassadorship. And it was right then that Don started openly showing up in public with the new girlfriend and all of that, and that's what's happening. So now Kimberly Guilfoyle has to watch Don Jr. move on quicker than she did. Of course, she's saving Greece from whatever the hell Greece needs to be saved from. Spartans, I guess. I don't know. I don't think this is an apt analogy, right? But the first thing I thought was, man, that sucks. It sucks when they move on first, doesn't it? Like it sucks when you're in a relationship with somebody and then you break up and you're not really, because I have never been somebody who jumps into anything. I've always just kind of been, unless I am like married or seriously linked to somebody that I've been with for a long time, anybody who asks me, I'll say I'm single. I'm always single. Used to drive girls I was dating nuts because, we're just dating. We're not exclusive. I'm single. A single person can date. As a matter of fact, I think that's kind of the most important thing a single person can do is date. But I'm lucky. I'm lucky to look, I have a low self-opinion of myself, very low self-opinion, certainly physically, not so much intellectually or an ability to sort of mix it up with strangers. I'm pretty confident in my abilities to do that. But when it comes to like looking in the mirror, I'm like, oh, Jesus, look at that guy. Oh my God, his teeth are fucked up. And oh my God, do I have a chin? Oh, why couldn't I be handsome? That's always been kind of how I feel. So I've overcompensated. But I got game because I'm confident and I'm, you can't hurt me. I'll hit on you. And if you tell me to go away, I'll go away because I'm not a monster. But I'll at least shoot my shot. That's how I've always been. And consequently, as I've found, just shooting your shot sometimes leads to amazing things. Like the fact that I'm pretty proud that I have consistently over the past 35, 40 years of my life, not so much in high school or college, but once I got into my 20s, I have been lucky I've dated over my skis. I've dated way over my skis. People are like, oh, dude, she's out of your league. I know. It's kind of my normal thing. I am used to being the guy that walks into the room and every other dude looks at the girl I'm with and goes, she's with him? Yeah, I'm used to that. That's okay. It's okay. But because of that, there's an uneven playing field when we break up. Like, I can't tell you how many times, like, I've been out publicly and then seen an ex-girlfriend with, like, the new boyfriend, because, of course, pretty girls can always get a date. And if they know we're going to the same place, they're going to bring somebody because they know that I'll be there. And the only thing that I can do in that situation is just relentlessly fucking hit on every girl I can see that's in the eye shot of it. But we play these games. And it sucks. It sucks when somebody moves on first, when somebody legitimately moves on first. Even if in your mind you have no real interest in rekindling or making it go forward, you don't want them to replace you before you replace them. And that's what Kimberly Guilfoyle is going through. She's been replaced, and the president is out there going, hey, look at this upgrade, Sucks. It's a very, very real thing. It's a very real thing. All right, let's see. What else do we have here? Bongino's out. We talked about this. Kimberly Guilflonk. It kills me. She's a good Irish girl. It's a good Irish name. Kimberly Guilfoyle. Probably raised nice Irish Catholic. And she was beautiful. She was undeniably beautiful. Kimberly Guilfoyle, who we're talking about, the ambassador to Greece, who got ghosted by Don Jr. and just a couple of nights ago publicly humiliated because Don Jr. never really broke up with her. Kimberly Guilfoyle was gorgeous. And that's another thing that Gavin Newsom can victory dance over. If Gavin Newsom really wants to get at Don Jr., all he's got to do is remind Don Jr. that Gavin had Kimberly Guilfoyle when she was good. Don Jr. spent 6 years with Cruella DeVille, the weird plastic surgery lady. Meanwhile, Gavin was, taking hot tubs with 25-year-old Kimberly Guilfoyle. A little different. He's got that. All right, let's move on to why you're an asshole if you don't like Taylor Swift. Very controversial stuff. Taylor Swift, as I explained in the beginning of the show, is I'm not a big, I could name one song. Shake It Off. We established that. That's the only song I know from Taylor Swift. It's a good song. It's a great song. I like it. Probably one of my favorite new songs of the last 10 years. I don't know. I probably couldn't name 10 songs of the last 10 years. But, it's a classic. I'll be like, I'll be 90 years old at my grandson's wedding, right? Sitting in the wheelchair, and they'll play Shake It Off, and I'll be like, I like it. Don't know any other Taylor Swift music. I'm not a Taylor Swift fan. Would I see her in concert? Absolutely. Would I pay like $10,000 to see her in concert? No. But if you're giving me if you got a ticket and you're like, you want to go see Taylor Swift? I'll be like, yeah, I want to experience that. I want to see what this cultural phenomenon is. I want to sit there. I want to watch, have a couple of beers, drink. So I would absolutely do that. I got no animus towards Taylor Swift. I don't understand anybody who does. I mean, I get it. Like, where is the origin of people hating Taylor Swift? What is the origin of it? Is it political? I mean, I know it's driven by politics because people who hate Taylor Swift are MAGA. It's like the only common denominator that I can see among people who are like, I fucking hate her. And I'm like, why? She seemed not, I grant you that everything at the level of Taylor Swift is very controlled, right? Whatever image you have of her, anything that you see of Taylor Swift is probably going to go through a number of channels. Public relations people, media specialists, they put it out there because that's the image of Taylor Swift. But let me tell you, she's been around now for a long time. And there have been no hiccups in that narrative of who she is. She's always been nice. She's a nice girl. Okay, she's not MAGA. No, she's not. Okay, she likes gay people. Well, she's a fucking singer. She's a singer-dancer. Who do you think she spends her time with? You hate her because she has an experience that you don't. Her experience is that gay people are fine. They're background dancers. Sometimes they're a little loud, but you know what? They're fun. That's her experience. So she's like, you know what? I don't have a problem with these people. And you fucking hate her for that. Because you don't know any gay people. You would never know a gay person because a gay person is, is that it? She does champion a lot of, gay causes and stuff like that. So I'm thinking, is that it? She is not overtly political other than she's a normal person who has gone on record as saying that Donald Trump is a monster, an absolute garbage human being. But she doesn't go around campaigning for Congress. I wish she would. I wish she would lend her influence to possibly, righting this ship. How great would it be to suddenly have, 50 million new 18 to 23-year-old female voters who are fed up with this bullshit that we've been subjected to. That might be a new block, but Taylor didn't do that. Sure, there was all these rumors of Taylor and Beyonce were going to do this big Joe Biden because she didn't do that. That was a rumor. She just goes about life making music that is forgettable to me, except for Shake It Off. Touring the world, making money hand over fist, being irritating with how, I'll tell you the thing that does irritate me about Taylor Swift. Every time she wins something, especially things that, we all know she's going to win, she acts like she had no idea. And the reason that this is irritating is because she has won so much. We have so many examples of Taylor Swift and the album of the year. We have so many of her just sitting there and then hearing her name and going, stop it. A little performative Taylor. You've won like 20 Grammys, okay? You're not shocked that you're winning again. But if that's the worst thing that I can say about someone, that is somebody who is working overtime to appear humble. To me, it plays as fake, but that doesn't stop the fact that what she's doing wrong is a good thing. She's trying to appear humble, and that is a bit irritating. And that is the worst thing that I can say about her, is that she doesn't want people to think she's arrogant. Okay. Meanwhile, we got a president who came out and listed a bunch of grievances and then told the world about how he's the best president of all time. See, two completely different kinds of people. Both irritating. Taylor Swift did something yesterday, and it was going around viral, that isn't done. And it's not done, and I will tell you why it's not done. It is not done because it will set a precedent, and nobody wants to be the one responsible for setting a precedent. It's like, it's like Major League Baseball owners. It's like Major League Baseball owners. You got a free agent out there. And, all the owners are like, okay, we're not in this free agent game for him, but I swear to fucking God, if you overpay him and move the free agent market, if you overpay him to an extent that when my third baseman comes up, I now got, some might call that collusion, but it's a real thing. And sorry, hold on. Totally forgot what that was apropos of. I was on some, doesn't matter. Anyway, Taylor Swift did something that would set a precedent. That's what I was doing. It was setting a precedent. Like, you don't want to pay, I don't know, Ohtani. You don't want to pay Ohtani this much because then, the next guy's going to come along and want a little bit more or $1 more. Sets a bad precedent. So Taylor Swift did something that nobody does because it sets a bad precedent in the business. And what is that? Her concert tour, her Eras tour made more money than any concert tour in the history of concert tours. So Taylor Swift gathered her people. She gathered her background dancers. She gathered her musicians. She gathered her lighting guys. She gathered her roadies. She gathered her teamsters. She gathered her construction people. I believe the number was 104 people or something, all told. She gathered them all around, and then she ran down a list of accomplishments that the tour that they had all just put on together achieved. Then she dropped a number. I think it was like $200 million. She's like, this show made blah, 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 $200 million above whatever initial price, whatever it was. I don't, we'll hear it. We'll see what she says. Although I think we're going to show a video. It's a little shorter. She took $200 million of her own money and she hacked it up among those people. There are teamsters. And how much is that, Pugs? Well, like everybody got a minimum of $750,000. That's the minimum that people got. Check. Here you go. Merry Christmas. I'm Taylor Swift. Thank you, guy who did the lights on my tour. Here's $750,000. I know that your job annually pays you $65,000 a year, but here's $750,000. She did that. She did that for the people that she sees every day. She set a bad precedent. I don't know. The Rolling Stones just canceled their tour probably because of that. They're like, yeah, no, we can't be doing that. We can't look like assholes. She just made the person in charge of catering for the Eras tour a millionaire. We can't do that. It's amazing. It's a fucking cool thing to do. We've got it on video. So here we go. Let's watch this. And this is why I say anybody who shits on Taylor Swift simply because of, some political fucking radicalization that they've gone through is a jerk off. Okay. This is a nice woman. This is a nice woman who does things that she doesn't have to do. And because she's at the absolute tippy top of the entertainment world, she's not fucking worried about setting precedents. Or she's doing it intentionally to maybe encourage other people to take better care of the staff that they tour with for a year in some cases. Here we go. Let's watch this. Taylor Swift with her staff.
The tour has done really well, thanks to all of our hard work. So if you will kindly read this message. The tour has done really well, thanks to all of our hard work. So if you will kindly read this message.
Taylor Swift. Okay. Oh. Dearest Cam, we've traveled the world like we set out to do. We've dazzled the crowds, but we've missed family too. My full gratitude doesn't come from a bank, but here's...
$750,000 is what he's saying. They bleeped it out, and you can see from his reaction, he's reading it. He's like, what? I make $50,000 a year. What do you mean you're giving me $750,000 a week before Christmas? That's fucking nice, man. His reaction.
Full gratitude doesn't come from a bank, but here's... All this just to say things. Love, Taylor.
Taylor Swift gave a whopping $197 million in bonuses to her staff. Nobody got less than $750,000.
Presented the checks to our drivers, and he presented handwritten letters from Taylor. It's incredible.
I know tour truck drivers, and I've asked, do artists usually give out these big bonuses? unheard of.
What's wrong, Max? He's emotional. Oh my God, do you need a hug? Are you okay?
I'm gonna pass out.
Love you guys so much.
All right, there you go. So if you hate Taylor Swift, you're a jerk off. You're just a jerk off, man. It's perfectly okay to say that you don't like her music. Not my thing. It's what I say. But if you fucking think that she's evil, or if you're pushing pictures of her on Twitter going, I think she's got a dick. One, you're gay because she's a fucking smoke show woman. You're a homo. If you're fucking forwarding pictures of Taylor Swift going, I think she looks like a man, that's because you're attracted to men, you fucking weirdo. She's a good person. She's a good person. It's unbelievable. It makes me upset. Jesus Christ, did you see that like 20-something-year-old production assistant? Again, a guy who probably got a full-time job, makes $60,000 a year. He's probably like 25, 26 years old. Yeah, he's got a great gig. It's a fun gig, and he doesn't mind that he doesn't make a whole lot of money because he travels the world a part of Taylor Swift's touring entourage. That's fun. I get it. But she gave that dude life-changing money. Life-changing money. She's a billionaire. So when I tell you that there are good billionaires out there, believe me, because that's how billionaires should treat the people. Do you think Donald Trump would give $100,000 to the fucking maid that does his bed every morning? No, of course not. He would never think to do that. Because in the class of billionaires that we deal with on a day-to-day basis, we have to understand that they see the world in two groups. Them, billionaires, and us, peasants. Taylor Swift is a billionaire who doesn't see humanity in that way. That's incredible. It's incredible. She is. She's awesome. She's awesome, and I will now defend her forever. I don't care. Look, here's what I know about that. I know that was put out by her people. I know that she did it and then they amplified it for credit. And should that take a little bit off it? Maybe. But you know what the end result is? She fucking did it. She actually did it. She took $200 million of her own Taylor Swift hard-earned money and said, you know what? I'm going to change the lives of the people I just spent the last year on the road with. That is fucking beautiful. It's beautiful. All right. Let's see. What else do we have? Oh, here we go. The other side of that shit. Look at this. Now, I think we're going to be hearing a lot about this, or at least I already have in the early morning sports radio and stuff that I'm listening to. Fucking Puka Nakuha. He did something. People are mad at Puka Nakuha, wide receiver for the Los Angeles Rams. You can watch him tonight on Thursday Night Football as the Rams travel to Seattle to take on division rival Seattle Seahawks. This is the biggest game in the history of Thursday Night Football. This is the most important game in the history of Thursday Night Football. Tonight's Los Angeles Rams at the Seahawks. I know you're like, what? Really? How is that? Well, first of all, you got to understand the first few years of Thursday Night Football, they purposely got shitty games. It was like, hey, welcome to the network rotation of football games. We're going to give you Cleveland at Jacksonville on Thursday night. Enjoy. But that's starting to right itself. This is the first time in history that two 11-win teams in the same division battling for not only division lead, but NFC number one position. It's the first time in the history of Thursday Night Football that's happened. That two teams are going to face off with that much on the line. It'll be a good game tonight. Good game. Puka Nakuha plays for the Los Angeles Rams. He's one of Matthew Stafford's favorite targets. Fifth round guy. Not a guy, draft experts. I'd love to go look at the draft and see what wide receivers were taken by experts before anyone thought to pluck Puka Nakuha out of Washington in the fifth round. But he's turned into quite a good little wide receiver. with a very fun name to say. Puka Nakuha. I like his name. Well, Puka Nakuha is making some news today for two reasons. One, he admitted that as a fifth-round draft pick, he has a very small contract. His contract isn't great. I mean, it's great for all of us. I mean, all of us that are listening right now, we would fucking love Puka Nakua's contract. But for, a guy that is as effective and accomplished at the position, he's still kind of working off the being a fifth round afterthought draft pick. So he doesn't have a whole lot of money. And he was talking about how playing for the Los Angeles Rams with California real estate and the California taxes and everything, income tax, just trying to buy a home in California. He says that his take home at the end of everything, after California hacks it up for taxes and after he pays his agent and all that stuff, Puka Nakuha lives on $450,000 a year and must live in an apartment in Los Angeles. Well, cry you a fucking river, dude. Oh my God. How on earth could a 25-year-old live in Los Angeles on only $500,000 a year? Shut the fuck up, dude. You're going to make 20 times that in your next contract, so long as you don't blow out your knee. But anyway, that's one of the things that he's complaining about. It's a young man who can't make it on $450,000 a year. I don't think he's complaining about it. That is interesting though, right? Because you think all of these guys are making $10 million a year, but no. He's still on his rookie deal, right? This is they got to probably re-sign him. What is his current deal situation? I don't know what it is, but apparently he claims he's taking home $450,000 a year. Puka Nakuha. So to kind of offset that, the guy's got to get himself out there. He's got to brand himself. He's got to start being someone that people know. I don't even know what Puka Nakuha looks like. Every time I see him, he's wearing a helmet. So he's got to get out there. So Puka Nakuha went on Aiden Ross's live stream. Do you guys know who Aiden Ross is? God, I fucking hope not. I hope not. He's one of these 25-year-old influencers who's just an absolute bag of dicks, but somehow makes $50 million a year. So he's like one of the most famous people in the world. And I swear to God, if he walked in this room right now, I wouldn't know who he is. Aiden Ross is a shit streamer, I guess. He does started out the way all of these 25-year-old 100 million heirs start out. He started out just playing fucking video games on Twitch in his room, just playing games. And all of a sudden he's like, oh, look at this. 2.5 million people around the globe are watching me in my room play a video game. It's amazing how organically these people all fell over. They tripped over their dicks into something amazing. And now we've got a whole bunch of 22-year-olds racing around streets in Lamborghinis. And they ain't pro athletes. No, they're just Twitch streamers. That's this Aiden Ross guy. He's controversial. He's a bit of a shock jock. He does that kind of stuff. He has been at times called anti-Semitic, anti-Muslim, racist, all of the things. And honestly, I don't know that he's any of those things. What I think he probably is a 22-year-old with $40 fucking million in the bank, and ain't nobody can tell him the stupid shit he thinks is wrong. 22-year-olds are just fucking dumb, right? They just say dumb things. They have no life experience, so their opinions are based on nothing other than projection of what they expect. 22-year-old dummies. So that's who this guy is. Anyway, super fucking famous. Super famous. Again, he's worth like 50 million. So Aiden Ross does these live streams that millions of people watch every day. How's that make my fabulous 15 feel? I got 15 fucking people. Less than that. So anyways, he does these live streams, and because so many people fucking watch him, all of a sudden he can book anybody, and he gets celebrities. He had Kanye on. He had all kinds of crazy shit. He has also, I should say, in defense of some of the things that he has said, he has claimed to be Jewish. He has claimed to be Christian. He has claimed to be Muslim. He has claimed to be black. He has also claimed to not be religious at all. That's what this guy does. Because he can. Because it doesn't matter. Because today he can go, yeah, I was raised Jewish. 3 days later, he can say, no, I hate all Muslims. And I can say that because I'm a Muslim. He does this. And there are no checks and balances because he doesn't work for anybody, because he's an independent streamer and he's 23 years old. And there aren't really any advertisers that he has to worry about as if he was on like NBC, CBS, or ABC. No, he just shit talks. 2.5 million people listen to him shit talk, and he makes $40 million a year. The system is broken. The system, not broken. I actually think it's better. I think that the elimination of the gatekeepers, there used to be gatekeepers. If you wanted to have a career like an Aiden Ross, or what I've tried to do, if you wanted to have that, there used to be gatekeepers. There used to be a program director who had to like your style. There had to be a company that will platform you. We'll make sure people hear that talent that we can hear. That used to be how it was. Gatekeepers. They were powerful people. There are no gatekeepers anymore. There are no gatekeepers anymore. The most listened to people in America were not hired by anybody. There was no guy in a suit in a desk whose ass needed to be kissed for these people to get these jobs. So I do think that's good, but there is good and bad. What that means is that there is opportunity for the absolute worst personalities to just run unchecked. And that's kind of what we got in the case of this Aiden Ross guy. He's a big douchebag, but whatever. He had Puka Nakuha. Hold on, here it is. Oh, what? I can't find it now. Hold on. Puka Nakuha. There it is. All right. So Puka Nakuha was a guest on Aiden Ross's live stream. And, Aiden Ross, and this is why I say maybe we need to find out more before we get all mad. Well, where is it? Is it this one? Yeah, it's this one. Hold on, let me just see something real quick. Before we get all mad at Puka, maybe he's just stupid. I think there's a chance that he's fucking stupid and doesn't know what he's doing. However, Aiden Ross does. So Aiden Ross has this thing that he does apparently on his Twitch stream or whatever. He calls it the Jew dance. And I don't know what it is. I don't know the context of it. I only know that he does a thing called the Jew dance. And the Jew dance ends with a very anti-Semitic trope about Jewish people. Greed, money. Ooh. Like that's how Aiden Ross's famous Jew dance, which he's been called anti-Semitic, to which he's replied, but I'm Jewish. And then somebody's like, hey, last week when we called you anti-Muslim, you said you were Muslim. So he plays this game. Nobody knows what the fuck he is. But he has definitely leaned into anti-Semitism. He has had Nick Fuentes on. He makes Jew jokes. And when he gets in trouble, he says, I'm a Jew. But he does have this thing called the Jew dance that he does. And Puka Nakuha was a guest on the show. And Aiden Ross convinced Puka Nakuha, which maybe we'll see tonight on Thursday Night Football. Aiden Ross convinced Puka Nakuha to the next time he scores a touchdown, do the Jew dance in the end zone. And Puka Nakuha said that he would. Now here's the thing. I don't think Puka Nakuha knows that this is an anti-Semitic trope. I think he's just trying to get his name out there. So he's going on this Twitch stream with this guy who's got 5 million listeners or viewers. I don't think Puka Nakuha is smart. I think he's really dumb. And I don't think that he knows much about anti-Semitism. But he is today being called an anti-Semite because of this. Let's watch. Here it is. This is from the Aiden Ross stream on Kick, it says here. Aiden Ross' guest was Puka Nakuha, and he got Puka Nakuha to agree to doing the Jew dance after his next touchdown.
Spin it, flex, then look and go like...
Oh, wait. I got to explain it to you. Okay, so the first thing is you take the football, you spin it. That's called the dreidel, because Jews spin dreidels. So it's the end zone. The Jew dance is spin the dreidel. And then, all right, here we go. Watch this again. I won't interrupt.
Go spin it, flex, then look and go like this. All right. Yes! Yes!
There it is.
Just like a bow, yes, just like this. All right, so do it all one.
Yo.
Spin it. Flex.
Do it!
In the camera.
We got you do it?
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's easy. I like it.
Whoa. See, these guys know that it's an anti-Semitic trope. And they're like, you're really going to do it? And he's like, yeah. And they're like, whoa. Puka Nakuha has no fucking idea what he's being asked to do. He's a dummy. He's a dumb fucking kid who gets hit for a living.
Go spin it, flex, then look and go like this. All right. Yes! Yes! Just like a bow, yes, just like this.
All right, there you go. There you have it. Now, let me also add that as far as like anti-Semitic racist tropes and all that, so that's nothing. That is nothing. Fuck, are you kidding me? I know some tough ass Jews who wouldn't even be pulsed by that. They'd be like, yeah. It's an eye roll. And Aiden Ross knows that. Aiden Ross knows that it's not a terrible thing to do. It simply plays into some anti-Semitic tropes that have plagued Jewish people for centuries. The greedy Jew. Money, 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 right? But Aiden Ross knows what he's doing to Puka Nakuha. Aiden Ross knows what that is and what the blowback will be and the scandal and the hype. And that's what these people fucking live for. Because again, they're not in fear of losing a sponsor. They got 2.5 million people who are showing up to watch them do this stuff. There isn't a sponsor. Seriously, there is nothing. Everybody wants to be hey, I'll give you $100,000 if in front of your 2.5 million people you read this live read. That's how he makes money. Those people aren't going away because the listeners are coming. And we don't have the gatekeepers anymore. Back in the day when somebody did something like this, you would have these influencers on TV, gatekeepers of a different kind, who would set the national narrative that you have to dislike this. Did you see the shocking thing this person did? That person, I can't believe it. And that's how we would go through our lives. We'd be like, did you hear that shocking thing? Because we've been told what to think. Those people don't exist anymore. Ain't nobody gonna be like, there are no gates. You do whatever you want. You do whatever you want. No advertisers can fucking influence you. Not when you have like 2 million Twitch streamers or 2 million Twitch watchers. You're a fucking god. Do you know what I could do if there were 2 million people on this thing right now? Fuck. It's insane. It's insane. I'll tell you what they do. They do the thing that Tim Pool and all those other people do. They don't take money from advertisers, but people with special interests come to them and go, you know what? Maybe you should start talking about this. I'll pay you under the table $100,000 a fucking day if you just talk about what a whore Hillary Clinton is or whatever it is. That's how they do it over there. That's why you hear about, Tim Pool needing to declare bankruptcy ever since his Russian fucking money got exposed. All of these people were being made rich by the Kremlin, who was giving them money and talking points and going, you should have this opinion on this. Goddamn, sign me up. I'm out here fucking just talking the way I honestly feel. Sign me up. See, I couldn't do it. I know I jokingly say sign me up. I couldn't do it. I couldn't sleep. Coming on the air, talking to people that I like, which would be the people who listen to this show, and just like fucking aggressively lying to them. Like just being like, The United States Army back in 2004 desperately wanted to advertise on Kelly and my show. It was the ramp up to the war in Iraq. They were willing to pay triple our live read rates. So almost $1,000 a live read between Kelly and me. The United States Army wanted that. Why? Because our station, 105.3 at the time, as I said earlier, we were number one, 18 to 34. They wanted our audience. They wanted us, the United States Army, to convince our audience that it would be honorable for them to join the military and go fight in Iraq. Kelly and I weren't real comfortable with the whole fucking ramp up to the war in Iraq. I've always known that was a huge fucking mistake. It's nice to have been proven right. Arguing with callers back in the day. Yeah, those people, we need to blow them off the map. I'm like, it's going to be a fucking quagmire. And it was. United States government, the Army, 3 times our live read rate. If Kelly and I were willing to do live reads for the U.S. Army and try and convince our audience to join. She's the one who said, I remember her saying, well, that's more of their choice than an our choice, and I'm not comfortable doing it. And I'm like, fuck, that's a lot of money. But we didn't do it. Turned them down. Don't know where they went. They went somewhere else on the station. So, I mean, when I joke and I say that if I was, if the Kremlin wants to reach out to me and give me a check, it's not true. It's just not true because we've been there before. I am principled to my own devastation. I am so principled that it has basically ruined everything. Stand on business. I've been doing that for years. Bye, Maddie. Wait, where's Maddie going? What's Maddie doing? Where's she going? All right, whatever. There goes Maddie. All right, let's keep going here. What else? The Puka Nakuha situation. Let's see if he does the Jew dance in the end zone. I mean, if he does, that's really fucked up, right? That's really fucked up. Okay, speaking of that, let's talk about the game tonight. We got a Rams-Seahawks game. It is, as I said, the biggest game in Thursday Night Football history. The first time. Never before have 2 11-win teams met this late in the season with so much at stake, whether we're just talking about the standings there in the NFC West or just overall 1 seed in the NFC. It's a big game. I will, of course, be rooting for the Seahawks. Because my Bears are also in that conversation for the number 1 seed in the NFC. And it would help us if the Rams were to lose. So let's go Seahawks. But let's apply the Kelly method and see how that works. All right, let's pick a couple of games. We won't pick all the games. We won't pick the full slate. Maybe I'll save some for tomorrow. But the Kelly method is a way of picking football that my partner Kelly used to utilize. She invented it. She created it. The idea is simple. She doesn't want, or have the time to become expert at football. She doesn't care. All she cared about when watching a game was which uniforms she thought were prettier. She would root for the prettier uniforms. But then also she would have a conversation about which mascot could beat the other mascot. And that's how the Kelly method was born. It is a form of betting football based on nothing more than what mascot is taking on what mascot. And where are they? Are they home or are they away? So let's use the Kelly method and let's break down tonight's biggest ever Thursday night football game between the Los Angeles Rams and the Seattle Seahawks. All right, here's what we have. We've got a mountain ram traveling to wherever the hell the Seahawk lives. That's an osprey. A Seahawk is an osprey. So we've got a mountain ram. I imagine they live in similar places, like a mountain ram. Is there an osprey in the... I don't know. Whatever. They're both out there in the wilderness. So I don't know that there's any huge advantage to one or the other with the home field. But it is pretty simple. A fucking ram would destroy an osprey. Not even close. So the Kelly method says that the Rams win, even though I'll be rooting for the Seahawks. All right, that's tonight. We want to go through. We got Saturday games. Should we go through some Saturday games? Oh man, we are at the best. We are at the best time for football, people. First of all, it's Christmas time. Christmas time. Who doesn't love Christmas time? But it's Saturday primetime football season. Woohoo! God, I love that. God, I love football on Saturdays. It's a treat. It's a nice treat. We got a couple of games. Saturday, there's a 4 p.m. game. That's right. Now, this one, was this the flex thing? Because I think it is. I think this was supposed to be what is now the primetime game. Yes. Originally, the Eagles at the Commanders, a battle for the NFC East, or at least it probably looked like it might be back in July when they were making the schedules. Eagles at the Washington Commanders. This is Saturday at 4:00. All right, so you got an eagle, very brave bird, against a human being. I'm sorry, if an eagle fought a human being, the human being would eventually win. I'm not saying the human being is going to need stitches, but somebody's going to have dinner that night, okay? And it ain't going to be the eagle. After they fight, the human being, the commander, George Washington, is going to kill the eagle. Again, what are we talking about here, though? He's at home. The Commanders are at home. So it's George Washington just wherever he feels most comfortable, and suddenly an eagle is in the room going, "Grr, grr." He'll fucking kill that eagle. Again, he might need stitches. He might get clawed and stuff. But at some point, the human being is going to snap that fucking eagle's neck. And then the human being will go eat dinner. There you go. It's going to be Eagles over the Commanders. Or I'm sorry, the Commanders over the Eagles in Washington. Woo! And you know what? I would normally go like, well, the Commanders are having kind of a rough go. The Eagles are the defending Super Bowl champion, but the Eagles are on a slide. The Commanders have something to prove, and they're at home. And don't division rivals just love fucking with other division rivals' playoff chances? And I think that might be something. So go ahead. There you go. Take the Commanders over the Eagles. The primetime game. That's right. We got fucking flexed into the primetime game because nobody respected the Bears until very recently. And even now, there are still people who don't fully believe it, but at least I can say the majority of the national out-of-town stupid media are now on the Bears bandwagon. Thank you for that. The league this was supposed to be the 4:00 game, but they did that thing. They flexed the more interesting game into prime time, Saturday night, 7:00, right here in Chicago. I mentioned it. It is fucking Packer week. Let's go. The Green Bay Packers come into town. Feels like we just played them, because we did. The Bears just played the Green Bay Packers 2 weeks ago, came down to the final play, went up to Green Bay. Close. It was close. Here's what I'll tell you. I think the difference in that game was home field. I think that the Bears are going to fucking stomp a mud hole in the limping Green Bay Packers in Soldier Field on Saturday. And that is also how the Kelly method sees it. It's a bear. It's a bear. It is one of the most fierce predators on the planet. A bear could kill a lion, right? A bear is more formidable than a lion. It's true. And this is a Packer. This is a guy who has a union job, a good union job, where he packs paper products into shipping containers in Green Bay. That is what a Green Bay Packer is. Just a dude. It's like somebody's stepdad. That's all. He's just a union paper packer, and he's got to fight a fucking brown bear. Yeah. It ain't gonna. A lot of people make the mistakes. People who don't understand bears. A lot of people think grizzly bears are the baddest bears. They're not. And by the way, the Chicago Bears are not a grizzly bear. They're a brown bear. They are a big, mean Canadian upper Great Lakes region of America brown bear. Kind of shit you deal with in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan. Used to be Chicago, but not in like 300 years. Not since the prostitutes and the pimps and the con men and all the politicians moved into Chicago. Chased all the bears out. But there used to be big fucking brown bears. All right, take the Bears over the Packers. That's going to be the big primetime game on Saturday night, 7:00. All right, I'm going to give you the Cowboys too. I'll give you the Cowboys game here, and then we'll save the rest of the games for tomorrow. We'll pick the rest of them tomorrow. Chargers coming into AT&T Stadium there in beautiful Arlington, Texas, to play the Dallas Cowboys. This is a cowboy. This is a dude from the 18th, right? Cowboys. It's not a modern cowboy. There's no such fucking thing as a modern cowboy unless they're professional football players, which actually might fit because these are professional football players. But the mascot of the Dallas Cowboys is a rootin' tootin' 1880s Wild West 6-shooter cowboy. Okay, so that's what we're dealing with. The Chargers are a bolt of lightning. The Chargers are a bolt of fucking lightning coming out of the sky. It doesn't matter who's home and away. The bolt of lightning happens everywhere. Everywhere is home. The sky is the home to the lightning until the lightning strikes. Chargers win. Chargers going to beat the Cowboys because a cowboy is a human being, and a human being does not do well against a direct hit from a bolt of lightning. And that's what we got. Any other really big games? Let me see. Is there anything else really big? Because maybe I'll just share those for tomorrow. No, there are no big games. I think the biggest games of the week are tonight, Rams at Seahawks, and then Saturday night, Bears at Packers. Eagles Commanders isn't a big game. Bengals Dolphins isn't a big game. Buccaneers Panthers, is that a big one? What's going on with that Buccaneers division with the Saints and shit? That's all jacked up down there. That's like the retard division, right? Those people are like special needs. That's not real football being played down there in the AFC or NFC South. I see. Sunday. No, that's the 21st. All right, there you go. We'll do the rest of the picks tomorrow. But write them down. The Kelly method does not disappoint. Here, I do want to mention one thing because this is a very big story, big football story being talked about nationally. That's why I'm talking about it on Get Up and whatever this morning. But it was a bombshell that was dropped here in the city of Chicago last night about 6 o'clock. Last night around 6 o'clock, all of a sudden, everybody who's a Chicago Bears fan was like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? A big bombshell was dropped. President of the Chicago Bears, a guy by the name of Kevin Warren, put out on Twitter an official Chicago Bears logo and, with the official Chicago Bears account, an open letter to Chicago Bears fans from President Kevin Warren, president of the Chicago Bears, basically saying that the new stadium, because this is an issue going on here in Chicago, the Chicago Bears have been, they want a new stadium. I don't know that they necessarily need a new stadium, but they want a new stadium. And they've got land in Arlington Heights, Illinois. Arlington Heights, Illinois is a north suburb. It's outside of Chicago. That's the first problem because the Chicago Bears aren't going to be playing on the lakefront anymore. What the fuck? It's one of the most beautiful and picturesque scenes for an NFL game, and you're going to move them out to Arlington Heights? Arlington Heights is a stupid generic suburb that has never contributed to anything. Well, other than maybe Charlie Kirk. It's Charlie Kirk's hometown. It's where Charlie Kirk grew up and became an asshole. So anyway, the Bears have property. It's the old Arlington Park racetrack. They have this property. They already own it. It's been like 5 years. Bears are moving to Arlington. Me, a Southsider who grew up in the southwest suburbs, I see that as a big middle fucking finger to half the Bears fans in the Chicago area. Chicago Bears played on the lakefront. There was nobody, Northsiders, Westsiders, Southsiders, suburbanites, nobody could claim domain over the Chicago Bears. They played in the center of the fucking city. We all had to travel into the city, one location to go to the team. They moved this fucking stadium out to Arlington, and all of a sudden you're saying this to everybody that now would have to drive like 2 hours to get to a fucking Bears game. So it was a bullshit location, but whatever, we were all okay with it. Hell, most people are very excited about it. Not people who live in the areas that I live, but everybody else is like, yeah, that'll be great. Great new stadium in Arlington. But here's the problem. The state of Illinois is run by a bunch of fucking morons. Governor J.B. Pritzker is one of these guys. He's not even interested in being the governor of Illinois anymore. He's running for president, and he's making a huge mistake. Because the state of Illinois is fucking mercilessly with the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears are not looking for the state of Illinois to buy their stadium, which is an issue that a lot of stupid people on Twitter don't seem to understand. I don't think taxpayers in Illinois should flip the bill for a billionaire's new stadium. That's not the case here. Chicago Bears are paying $3 billion of their own money for this stadium. They're building the stadium. What the Chicago Bears are asking for from the state of Illinois is for the state of Illinois to pick up the infrastructure costs, because there's going to need to be a new off-ramp built. There's going to need to be some road improvements. There's going to need to be all kinds of municipal infrastructure that the Chicago Bears are saying, we're going to build this $3 billion stadium that's going to do incredible things for the area. And it will, because Arlington Heights has already been badass. It's on the site of a former world-class thoroughbred racetrack that drew people from all around the world. Arlington, the Arlington Million, it was a big race. It was a classy racetrack. Not one of these dirtbag racetracks. Arlington was a palace in the horse racing world. And when they closed it down and tore it down about 10 years ago, that land has just been sitting there. And the Chicago Bears are like, we'll put our new stadium there. And now the state of Illinois is like, well, we appreciate that you're paying for it. And they are. The Chicago Bears are paying for this. This isn't a taxpayer play. All the Bears want is for the state to commit X amount of dollars for infrastructure. And they want some sort of guarantee on the tax rates, because in the state of Illinois, taxes change from year to year, depending on who needs a little more money in their pocket. County assessor wants a new boat, so everybody's going to pay another 0.3% in their taxes. Chicago Bears are just simply looking to be locked into a tax rate over the course of 10 years. And they want the state of Illinois to build an off-ramp and some roads, because you know what? This new fucking stadium is going to make the surrounding area cool again. What it's been for the last 10 years is a place where the racetrack used to be. Just a big fucking eyesore now. So look, I don't like billionaires, and this would be different if the Chicago Bears was saying to the state of Illinois, build us a stadium or we're moving. That is not what the Chicago Bears are saying. They're saying, we're going to build a stadium, we're going to develop all this land, you're going to have all kinds of businesses that pop up, all kinds of people all the bars are going to open up, all the hotels, they're going to pay you in tax dollars. All we want you to do is fix the fucking roads and build us a couple of off-ramps. Can you do that? And the state of Illinois is going, no. Why? Because J.B. Pritzker is trying to run for fucking president, and he doesn't want it said that he, a billionaire himself, is giving taxpayer dollars to other billionaires so that they can have their fucking football stadium. Even though that's not what they're asking him to do. They're asking him to do nothing more than any other state have done in building a new stadium. Arenas, this is normal. This is normal. I'll tell you what didn't used to be normal. It didn't used to be normal that the owners of the teams pay for the stadiums themselves. It used to be quite a regular thing back in the 90s where you would get the state and taxpayer dollars to build these billionaire stadiums. But that obviously didn't go over so well. So that ain't really been a thing in the last 15 years. Yet people will still act like it is a thing. People defending fucking Pritzker in the state of Illinois. Why should we build them a stadium? That is not the issue. You don't even know what the issue is. This is all politics because the governor of Illinois is trying to run for president and he doesn't want it to look like he's coddling billionaires. So the Chicago Bears, even though they own this land, they now own the site of the former Arlington racetrack. The Chicago Bears are pulling out of Arlington. That was the announcement that Kevin Warren made yesterday. And in the announcement, Kevin Warren said we are now going to be looking at other alternative sites, including Northwest Indiana. Oh my God! And the announcement that the Chicago Bears were interested in building a stadium in Northwest Indiana made people go insane. It was fun last night. Watching all of these. What? Are they going to be called the Gary, Indiana Bears? No, stupid. Are they called the New Jersey Jets or the New Jersey Giants? No, stupid. Are they called the Arlington Cowboys? No, stupid. Tired of these people. Don't be dumb. Everybody's against it. Like everybody that was happy about the prospect of a new Chicago Bears stadium going up in Arlington is now livid at the idea that the Chicago Bears are like, nah, we're just going to go to the old U.S. Steel site right there on the lake. We're going to have lake views again. The stadium will be on the lake. You'll have downtown Chicago in the background. You'll be able to see the skyline. Fuck you, Illinois and J.B. Pritzker. We're taking our business to fucking Indiana. And guess what Indiana's doing? They're bending over backwards. They're like, how many roads you need? We'll build a stadium too. We'll build a stadium across the street. You can have two stadiums. That's how desperate we here in Northwest Indiana want the Chicago Bears. And of course, it's still going to be the Chicago Bears. Their headquarters are going to be in Hallis Hall in, Chicago. They're just going to play in Northwest Indiana, the way many, many teams do not play in the city that they are. Now, I think that's a crime because one of the beautiful things about being a Chicago Bear fan is that we were traditional. We got the oldest stadium in the league, even though it's been redone. It was redone 25 years ago, so it's got modern amenities and all of that stuff. We've got the oldest stadium in football and the smallest stadium in football. We've got the greatest location for a football stadium in the entire NFL. But they want something better. And the Chicago Bears and the people of the region want a dome. We want a dome. We want a retractable roof. Not because we don't want to play Bear football in December anymore, but because we want a Super Bowl. We want to host a Super Bowl. We want all of the stuff that comes with having a dome and an NFL franchise. So that's the idea. So last night around 6 o'clock, the president of the Chicago Bears put out this big thing talking about how we are now going to be investigating sites in northwestern Indiana because the state of Illinois has not been able to move the ball here. J.B. Pritzker told the Chicago Bears told everybody that they were going to put shovels in the dirt in 2025. We got a week. We got a little more than a week left in 2025, and the Chicago Bears don't even have a location set yet. So there aren't shovels going in the dirt because the state of Illinois said last week, we will not be interested in moving forward in any talk of a stadium with the Chicago Bears until after 2026. What the fuck? So the state of Illinois is like, yeah, we're not even going to discuss this. So the Chicago Bears aren't just going to sit around. They're going to fucking move and they're going to build their stadium in a state that is going to bend over backwards. The state of Indiana. The state of Indiana is going to give them absolutely everything that they want. And it will be, I promise you, an absolutely magical stadium. It's going to be right there on the, I'm going to show you where it is. Just for you people who are, because I think a lot of people don't really get, hold on. Let's see here. Yeah. All right, here, I'll show it to you. All right. I don't know that people really understand how weird Illinois and Indiana are. I mean, we are basically the same exact fucking thing, right? I mean, it's an arbitrary line that runs down a neighborhood street. You can have your best friend can live across the street from you and he lives in a different state. That's how weird it is. So being from Indiana and considering yourself a Chicagoan is normal because I would say that the entire top quarter of Indiana, the entire top west north quarter of the state of Indiana are Chicago suburbs or people who identify as Chicagoans. Here's an example. Show it to you right here. I'm going to show you where this stadium is and why people are freaking out about it. All right, here's the where is the Illinois-Indiana line? There's Indiana University, so I know we're already in Indiana. There we go. Okay. All right. We'll take it up this way. All right. So this right here, this is the Illinois-Indiana line. This is all Illinois. This is all Indiana. I'll give you an example around here of how this here. We'll go right here to Cal City. All right. Cal City's a suburb. Cal City is a suburb, right? Here, this is an example of like what I was telling you. This is how weird it is. Oh, that's not a good example. I'm looking for two people with windows. Okay, here we go. Here's a good example. All right, right here. Look at this. This is the difference between Illinois and Indiana. Okay. Here you go. All right, so you got this kid. Kid grows up in this house. His best fucking friend in the world grows up in this house. They open the windows and they yell at each other. Hey, you want to come play ball? Yeah, I'll be right down. This kid lives in one state. This kid lives in another state. I'm telling you, there is no fucking, it's an arbitrary line. It's not like there is an entire portion of Northwest Indiana and Northeast Illinois that they're all just one thing. There's a name for it. It's called Illiana. These people are from Illiana. They're both. So when the Chicago Bears say that they're moving to Indiana, and then you get the out-of-town stupid crowd that's like, they're going to have to change the name. Fuck you. Change the name, you big dummy. So here's the site. The site in Northwest Indiana is closer to Soldier Field than the site in Arlington. What's going on here? Why is the... So these are going to be the sites. All right, that's Evanston. This is what we're looking at right here. It's going to be a fucking amazing football stadium. This is the closed down U.S. Steel Works. It's an island and peninsula on Lake Michigan, right on the south side of Chicago. I mean, this is where the working class steel workers of Chicago, when they went to work in Indiana, but they walked across the street from their homes in Chicago. This is... Well, it's this. What we got here? We got the Lakeshore Coal Company still operating, but this is the site. This is the development site that they're interested in for a new Soldier Field. And I got to tell you, man, see, here's the new site. Here's downtown Chicago, right? You can see here's actual Soldier Field. Here's Soldier Field right here, somewhere in here. There it is. All right, here's Soldier Field right here. Here's the actual current home. Okay, everybody's freaking out. Here's their home. They're moving to another state. They're literally moving about 10 miles away to right here. And people are fucking... Oh, no, that's not it. Where is it? Where's the U.S. Steel site? Whatever, you get the point. Anyway, that's the big deal around here. And I couldn't be happier. I so desperately want this to become a thing. I want the stadium to stay on the lake as opposed to out here. Here, I'll show you where they wanted to fucking put it. Let's just make a generic stadium out in the middle of the suburbs. No character, no nothing. Where is it? We'll go all the way out here. Oh, we got to go past O'Hare. Oh, my God. Here it is, Arlington Heights. Okay, so this right here, Arlington Heights, home of Charlie Kirk, is where they want to put the stadium, but the state of Illinois won't work with them. It's super far to downtown Chicago, and it's only convenient to folks who live up here. This is where I wanted to put it. Let's go! Because you know why? Because this is really convenient to people like me who live right here. It's right here in this area. Very nice. All right. Yeah, this appeals to nobody. But anyway, that's the situation that's going on. The big breaking news last night concerning the Chicago Bears. They're moving out of the state of Illinois because Governor J.B. Pritzker can't focus on the job of being governor and keeping this legacy team in the state of their origin. Instead, he's worried about being president and how it's going to look if he's seen as somebody who gave billionaire NFL football owners money, taxpayer money, for a new stadium, which is not what's happening. But he knows people are stupid and he doesn't want people to twist that message. So he's staying away from it. And the end result is going to be he's going to lose horribly in the Democratic primary for president. And Indiana is going to be home of the Chicago Bears. That's what the end result of all of this is going to be. Because J.B. Pritzker, as it turns out, is just another bullshit politician. All right. I got to be honest. I don't have that big of a problem with J.B. Pritzker. Like, I think he's a billionaire, so I hate him to begin with. But as far as like billionaires go, he's not obnoxious. He knows how to behave himself. He's not, he's not somebody that says things that are obviously lies and untrue. He's not somebody who seems to be trying endlessly to manipulate the lowest hanging fruit among us. But I just don't like him. There's just something about him that I don't like. J.B. Pritzker. What else do we want to do? Doot. Oh, remember I was talking. Okay, so we'll do this one too. Why not? Because I was talking about this. Authenticity, I guess, could be the word of the day. Authenticity. So I told you around these parts, it's Packer Week, and this is a really big thing. I know my cowboy friends. It's like, oh, it's kind of like our rivalry with the Eagles. No, it ain't fucking nothing like your rivalry with the Eagles, and I will tell you why. Dallas and Philadelphia do not bumper up against each other. Okay, people from Dallas, diehard Cowboy fans, are not going to be at the 7-Eleven standing in line behind 4 fucking Eagles fans, because Dallas and Philadelphia are a country apart. Chicago and Green Bay, not so much. Not so much. It's a very serious rivalry. We hate those people, and yet we love those people. And our Christmas tables will be filled. If you are a Packer fan serving Christmas, you will undoubtedly have a couple of Bear fans at your table. And if you are a Bear fan serving Christmas dinner, you will have some Packer fans. It's just how it is up here. It's not so much about region. I don't know what it's about, because we're all from the same region. But authenticity. I talked about how the guy down there in New Orleans looked at me, wanted me to be on their Rush Limbaugh station. And I said, yeah, but I don't do that. That's not how, I wouldn't, that's not the kind of talk that I do. And he looked at me and he said, yeah, but you could fake it. This guy was willing to give me a job to go and become a fake right-wing guy. Yeah, but you could fake it. It's a performance. I was like, oh, but that's not why I do this job. Like if I had to fake it, then when I was done, I'd be like, oh, I feel like I fooled you. I feel like that's not good. That's not a good feel. Like that's how I would feel. For all the stupid, nonsense, ignorant, half thought through things that I spew on a day-to-day basis, I sleep well because I don't mean anything to be, necessarily hurtful. And I'm just a regular dumb guy. We're just talking. But I am authentic. I am who I am. And the media world is fucking filled with inauthentic people who can pull off any narrative. They can push anything as long as somebody's paying them. I've got an example for you. All right. So it is Bears-Packers week, right? Let me introduce you to a guy by the name of Ben Brust. I don't know if you know who Ben Brust is. Around here, we know who Ben Brust is. Ben Brust was a college basketball. Yeah, I don't think he played in the pros. College basketball player. Pretty famous guy around these parts from the University of Wisconsin. A couple of years back when University of Wisconsin went to the Final Four, Ben Brust was the white point guard who was gritty and everybody liked him. And, does he go to the hole with force? He was that guy. Became a favorite. He's a Chicago kid. He's from Chicago and all that. But he ended up going to the University of Wisconsin, and because he had fame associated with the University of Wisconsin, once his playing days were over, he decided to go into radio and sports radio, and he went to Milwaukee, and he became a big voice of Milwaukee radio. Ben Brust. He's a Packer guy. He does radio play-by-play for the Bucks. But here, let me show you an example of just rank inauthenticity. Hold on, here we go. I'll show you this. This is an example. And again, I told you earlier, it's Packer week. So everybody on both sides of the border, everybody is.
Williams, pressure or no pressure.
All right, I want you to see this. All right, this is Ben Brust. Okay, very popular up in Milwaukee. Sports radio guy. Again, a bit of a local hero because he was a white kid who could play basketball good. And that means something in Wisconsin. They, they don't think of themselves as basketball people. But once again, he is a Chicago area kid, and he was a really good high school player in the Chicago area. And before he settled in Milwaukee, he bounced around Chicago sports radio, getting workouts, and people gave him chances. And so we know who he is. Well, he hooked on in Milwaukee, and he is the voice of the Packers. And let's listen to him. This is what inauthenticity sounds like.
They are still the Chicago Bears. Even if it flips, I'm not worried about them because I know that they had to run 55% of their plays in play action because Caleb Williams, pressure or no pressure, cannot sit in the pocket and make a good throw. They have to make everything manufactured for him. I'm going to trust that even though Micah Parsons is out and there's some unknowns across your entire team from an injury standpoint, that Matt LaFleur will go to Jeff Hafley, and you trust the guy that's looks to be a head coach to figure out how to stop Caleb Williams in this offense. Yes, stopping the run will be tough, but it still is the same formula. If I'm going to have a strategy against the Bears, I'm still going to stack the box. I'm still going to send extra guys, and I'm going to say, hey, beat me, Caleb. And I still don't have the confidence that Caleb Williams can beat the Packers at Lambeau, at Soldier Field, or wherever the hell it is. They are still
the
Chicago Bears.
That's a passionate young man, right?
Because
As a passionate young man up there in Milwaukee doing Packer radio, talking to Packer fans, getting them all jacked up, that son of a bitch has a Chicago Bears tattoo. He does. He's got a Chicago Bears tattoo. He's full of shit. He's collecting a paycheck. And that was an example of sports media. That man is a diehard Chicago Bears fan. He's been taking a beating on Chicago radio today because all Chicago radio people know him. They're like, hey, man, you see Ben? And they're all playing it. And they're like, doesn't he have a Bears tattoo? Yeah, he does. He's got a big Bears C on his arm. Never talks about that up there in Milwaukee, though. Never mentions that on the radio. He's never seen in a tank top anymore. But we all do remember back when he was playing at the University of Wisconsin, he had a Chicago Bears tattoo. Media is just filled with inauthentic people who got fucking big paydays. There is money in inauthenticity, which is another reason why I'm a broke ass. That's another reason. Guys, that's it. I'm tired. It is 3:00. I think we've done a good 3 hours. I've got some other things that I've got to do behind the scenes. One more time, I want to thank today's executive producer, the purple person responsible for bringing us this show. I know I didn't do the Valley Girls thing, and I didn't do the why alcoholism is worse than heroin addiction in this country. We'll do that. We can do that tomorrow. Thank you, Maddie. Appreciate you. Maddie dropped a little something there. Helps us going. It means the world to us, especially this time of the year. Season's greetings. If you can help this show, drop a little something, please. Venmo or Cash App. It's always appreciated. You guys are the best. It's talk radio for normal listeners. You notice I changed the verbiage there. It used to be normal people. But no, this is about people who are listening. I'm providing something for people who like to listen to talk content. I'm providing something for normal people who think that there's just nothing out there to listen to that's in the vein of current events that doesn't come with some sort of political partisan bullshit. I have no partisan. I fucking am all over the place, and we talk about all the things that happen every day at noon since 2021. So thank you to Maddie, and thank you to you or anybody else that helps us get. We don't even have a goal. You know why? Because there is no goal. There's just whatever the fuck we can make this month because shit isn't good. But if you can't help monetarily, that's okay. I tell you all the time, plenty of ways you can help, like, follow, subscribe, forward, retweet, whatever terminology it is that's appropriate for what it is that you're doing. Help the show get visibility. Help the show and help the show's algorithm. All of those little things help. Honestly, liking everything that I tweet or post on Facebook, just liking. It's quite literally the least you can do. It is literally. Well, I mean, I suppose you could do nothing, but if you are doing something, that is the least you can do, and it would be greatly appreciated because all those things do help with what we're trying to do here. Do I have anything else? Is there anything else that needs to be mentioned before we get out of here today? I thought today was fun. I always feel what you guys give to me here, you really don't understand. I say it all the time. It's the only thing I can do. So we're going to keep doing it. We're going to keep doing it until I completely fucking implode. And then one day I'm gone and you never hear from me again. But we're going to, as they said in that Seinfeld episode, remember the Seinfeld episode where Kramer took the car out for a test drive and it was on empty? There was no gas in the car, and the salesman, he's like, maybe we should head back. Kramer wanted to go left of the slash. That's what this show is. As far as how we're running this thing, how we're keeping the lights on, we are left of the fucking slash, and we're going to keep going because we have to do it. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate you folks for being here every day and indulging me this unbelievably absurd, narcissistic, whatever. I love you guys. Have a great weekend, or not a great weekend. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday. Be nice to people. Remember, your next breath is not guaranteed, so make this one be a cool one. If I had a better way to say it, that might have been a good saying, but it just got stupid at the end. It's just off the top of my head. Love you guys. Bye.